An irresistible pressure came crashing down from all directions. An irresistible pressure came crashing down from all directions. It was incomparably terrifying. Long Fei's heart sank. The intense pain had directly impacted his nerves. Not only was it the oppression of his body, but it was also the crushing of his soul consciousness. Master, this is using the power of the sky spill. It was left behind by that brat Yin Tian when he laid down this space. He wanted to leave some support for his descendants. The sky spill beast said directly. Long Fei was quiet for a moment. He wanted to say something, but the pressure from the power made it hard for him to split his mind, so he could only endure. Fuck you, retard. Since you know everything, why aren't you making a move? I want to see your father die. Long Fei was extremely resentful in his heart. However, the sky spill beast had no intentions to make a move. This caused Long Fei to be a little confused in his heart. He thought that even if you don't completely gain intelligence, I'm still your master right now. Seeing that your master was being bullied, you actually didn't even have the intention to make a move. Long Fei made up his mind. He had to teach the sky spill beast a lesson. Tell him what is called the self-cultivation of war pet. And at this time, the people of the Yinshu God's tribe were also boiling with excitement. Father, Patriarch, Lord Clan Chief, Bai Hao and the disciples of the Yin God's tribe exclaimed. This sudden voice lifted their spirits. Clan leader of the Yin God's tribe, Bai Chi. Kid, I have to say, even this old man is amazed at the secret that you're carrying. Even the entire Yin Tian ranch was swept away by you. That power should be inherited from Emperor Yin Tian, right? Kid, obediently hand over the sky spill spell, and my clan can let you live. The void shook continuously as a gigantic face appeared from the void. Puff! Long Fei felt the pressure on his chest suddenly increase, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. This kind of energy had completely fused with the entire sky spill secret world. In other words, this sort of pressure was using the entire power of the entire sky spill secret world, and was simply not a person's power. I already knew that the Emperor left behind a method for us to deal with our enemies using secret world Yin Tian. I didn't expect it to be so powerful. Haha, this is absolute control. My clan's chief is the ruler of this space, the heavens. Trash will always be a piece of trash. Even if there are some methods that can't change their nature, they're still like a dog crawling on the ground in front of us. Ridicule after ridicule sounded out. Bai Chi's arrival allowed them to instinctively overlook the fact that Long Fei was already standing on top of the Pantheon monument and had also forgotten about it. And the coldness in Long Fei's eyes became denser and denser. Hegemon control? Heavens! Long Fei sneered in his heart. The so-called sky spill space was only something that Emperor Yin Tian had used the sky spill beast sky spill power to create. As of now, the power of the sky spill was Long Fei's. The sky spill beast was also Long Fei's. To actually say that he was being controlled? None at all. The corners of Long Fei's mouth curled up as a cold smile surfaced on his face. Trash. Die. What lousy can't stand the most is all of you self-righteous idiots. Bai Chi, right? The clan leader of the Yinshu God's tribe, right? Control this world, right? Since you want to snatch my power, then come. This old man will let you all know today what true control is. Long Fei used all his strength to straighten his spine and stood proudly. His long hair fluttered in the wind, revealing a trace of madness. It was the same from the gods' martial continent, but it was still the same. If you don't admit defeat, then do it. He had been in pain before, but he had never admitted defeat. Sky Spill Beast, come out. Long Fei roared. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the entire world had turned dark. Even the huge face that Bai Chi had created was concealed, covering the entire sky and covering the earth. It was completely overpowering. Everyone, including Bai Hao, raised their heads. In the blink of an eye, his legs began to tremble uncontrollably, and some of them even knelt down in fear. What is this? Oh my God, what did I see? It devoured the chief. The Yin descendant of God's tribe's face was pale white. Without any sign of power, he knelt on the ground. Even Bai Hao wasn't that strong. Come, didn't you want to kill me? Using me as a trap? You think you are worthy? Long Fei said coldly. Even an existence like the Emperor Xian had already escaped Long Fei's control. How could Emir, by how possibly be worthy of his notice? No, that's impossible. What is this thing? My father was born with great achievements. Even the current heavenly emperor would have to give him face. So how could he be suppressed by this secret world? Bai Hao's like a madman, crazily wanting to get up, but it was useless. Sky Evolution Beast, the super big boss that even Long Fei was interested in. That year, Emperor Yin Tian had to coax and trick him to get into this Sky Spill secret world. You want to resist with just Bai Qi? Impossible. Bai Hao, I only wanted to give you a lesson and let you know that my woman cannot be provoked. But you are courting death. You actually used me to set up a trap, and you want to use me to open your Yinwu God's tribe secret. It's a pity that you're overthinking things. There's nothing to be proud of in this Sky Spill secret world. Long Fei said indifferently. The entire Sky Spill secret world was already in his control. Before he had entered the Sky Spill secret world, he had known everything about him. Emperor Yin had never left behind anything, if there really was one. The Sky Evolution Beast was one, and the Qi of a great emperor was one among the shrine. But unfortunately, all of them had already been obtained by Long Fei. Bullshit, this is our Sky Spill secret world. What's inside that I don't know about? Bai Hao hysterically shouted. I don't believe that this thing can reverse Sky Spill secret world. This is my clan's secret world. Any existence can go beyond my control. Everyone attack together. We will inscribe the heavenly marks and kill this fellow. Bai Hao's face was filled with panic as he spoke. This reversal was a bit too drastic. It made him fall from heaven to hell in an instant. Shwa shwa shwa. The disciples of the Yinshu God's tribe did not dare hesitate and immediately started drawing the array patterns, using their own life force to do so. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Suddenly, countless runes carved by the power of the heavens intersected with each other, forming a power that could be strangled to death. Long Fei's eyes focused. It had to be said that the power of these tens of thousands of Sky Evolution marks caused Long Fei to be somewhat shocked. Haha, Long Fei, you think you have one? Do you think you can do whatever you want just because you've summoned a big guy? Yinshu God's tribe, sacrifice for me. Bai Hao shouted. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The lines intersected and then slowly fused, forming a phantom in the air. Yin Tian, Great Emperor? Streaks of crimson-black light swept out, continuously drawing out from the body of the Yinshu descendant of God's tribe and converging into the void of a figure. Streaks of crimson-black light swept out, continuously drawing out from the body of the Yinshu descendant of God's tribe and converging into the void of a figure. Long Fei's heart tensed up. This figure was not unfamiliar to him. It was Emperor Yin Tian. He can even form an emperor's shadow. This kind of power was rare, especially from those old monsters that had been annihilated into the endless ages of space and time. It was even more difficult. Looks like the Yin Tian race has truly inherited many secrets. A great emperor is a great emperor, Long Fei thought. However, he did not panic at all. Not at all. Long Fei was well aware of how the Sky Spill secret world was formed. Emperor Yin Tian had borrowed the power of the heavenly beast to create this space. From a certain point of view, the power of Emperor Yin Tian originated from the Sky Spill beast. With all the heavenly evolution beasts around, this image was nothing to worry about. In fact, Long Fei had even thought that this great Emperor Yan's image could be a boss. If it's a boss, then it can't be any better. Coincidentally, taking advantage of the Sky Spill beast's presence, I'll immediately devour it. My experience and magic treasures are wild and powerful. Long Fei thought, and completely ignored Bai Hao's words. Ah, Long Fei, tremble. And the giant monster you summoned, do you think you're invincible? I never would have thought that I would have such a method. Bai Hao laughed loudly, his eyes filled with hatred. It was at this moment that the figure condensed in midair started to turn around and look at Long Fei. Yes, kill him. This child stole my Yinshu's opportunity. We must kill him. Also, he slaughtered all the living creatures in Yin Tian's pasture. This is an unforgivable crime. Quick, kill him. A bone cane appeared in Bai Hao's hand, and he commanded. Long Fei also looked at the emperor body. This glance was not important, but Long Fei was immediately stunned. It was clearly an illusion, but Long Fei felt that he was facing Emperor Yin Tian. His facial features were clearly visible. How is this possible? Long Fei's heart was thumping hard, because in this instant, Long Fei actually felt as if his soul had been seen through as he ran naked between heaven and earth. You're finally here. The shadow spoke and looked at Long Fei indifferently. Emperor Yan's shadow seemed to have gained intelligence as it slowly descended from the sky. However, he was not walking toward Long Fei, but towards Bai Hao. Bai Hao's eyes were filled with wild joy. Come here. The illusory image of Emperor Yin Tian spoke up. My emperor is calling me. Bai Hao's eyes lit up, an unprecedented level of glory appearing in his body. As if he was about to be bestowed a crown by the figure of the great Emperor Yin Tian, his face was full of nervousness and excitement. Yes, I'm calling you. The virtual image of Emperor Yin Tian said. Upon receiving the confirmation, Bai Hao immediately straightened his chest. He flew straight away, afraid that if he too slowed down, he would incur the displeasure of Emperor Yin Tian. Great Emperor's shadow, I didn't expect that my race would actually have such a profound mystery. Ha ha, this is great. This is probably the first time in history. The body of an emperor, even the unknown places or legends. That's great. Young master obtained the inheritance. How can our Yinshu God's tribe not defy the heavens? The disciples of the Yin God's tribe seemed to be on stimulants as they desperately poured out their powers. But their energy flow was still power of life after all. So every minute spent, they naturally consumed their source energy. Thus, in just a short amount of time, they had already turned from young to old. He was in a precarious situation at the brink of death. At this time, Long Fei was also somewhat speculating. Little Tian, are you sure you'll be fine? Long Fei passed the idea to the sky evolution beast. Long Fei was worried, especially the feeling of having his entire body being seen through. Long Fei felt very uncomfortable in his heart. Don't worry, boss. It's just a certain part of Yin Tian's body that was left behind. They refined it into a weapon, and then there were the descendants of Yin Tian's bloodline. Only by using their life force as sacrifices would Yin Tian's figure appear. If he does anything, I'll kill him, the sky-spill beast said madly. But the more Long Fei listened, the more uneasy he became. This kind of scene was too familiar, and it was the same with Xiao Bai back then, as he said, even to the heavens. In the end, even at the most crucial moment, it would fall. Especially this sky-spill beast. It was still young even now. It might not have been that retarded back then. Perhaps Yin Tian had been the one to lay the formation from start to finish. No, I have to make some preparations. Great killing weapon, little flower, little green, God's pavilion, get ready for battle. Long Fei secretly thought. No matter what, he was still a great emperor. Even if it was just an illusion, it couldn't be ignored. But right at this moment, a crisp sound startled Long Fei. Pow! Bai Hao's silhouette was directly sent flying backwards, as though he had fallen headlong into the ground. Who do you think you are to have the audacity to tell me that? When I was acting unrestrained, your master was just a child under my command. Now that I'm awesome, you still dare to order me around? Every time Emperor Yin Tian spoke, a palm would land over it. Bai Hao was completely dumbfounded, and his entire being was on the verge of going crazy. He frantically struggled, but to no avail. The Yin descendant of God's tribe was stunned. He had no idea why this would happen. Looking left and right, he didn't know if he should stop or continue. Even Long Fei was shocked by the scene in front of him. What kind of method is this? Long Fei was motionless as he looked at the incomparably enormous sky evolution beast in the sky. It's fine, don't worry, master. I already felt that something was wrong. That Yin Tian brat didn't even get a woman. Where did he get the inheritance from? So he's just a boy. Ha! I'm dying of laughter. A descendant of a child uses arm bone to command him. Little Yin Tian, if I were you, I would have killed him with a slap. The sky spill beast laughed loudly. Whiz! The simulacrum of the great emperor, Yin turned around and glanced at him. Shut up. If it weren't for me, do you think you would still be alive? You long ago became someone's subordinate, the Xiaobai mouse. I'll give you this opportunity. You must seize it. If anything happens to Master, just wait for death. Emperor Yin Tian gave a loud roar and said as he stared at the sky spill beast. Immediately, the sky spill beast was terrified. His face was full of grievance, as if he didn't know why Yin Tian would make such an expression. Master, the sky evolution beast's voice was filled with grievance and choked with sobs as he spoke to Long Fei hesitantly. But the current Long Fei had two heads. How could she have the time to care about him? Lord above, sit down, Yin Tian, and welcome back. Astonished, stupefied, I just don't know what to do. The disciples of the Yin God's tribe all opened their mouths wide, their eyes that were close to death exploding with a strong sense of unwillingness and disbelief. No, that's impossible. Great Emperor, we are your descendants. Emperor, he is our enemy. The Yinwu descendant of God's tribe roared. He wanted to cry, but no tears came. However, Emperor Yin Tian did not move at all and continued to kneel in front of Long Fei, as if he was waiting for Long Fei's orders. Long Fei's heart was already in his throat. Long Fei's heart was already in his throat. Facing the kneeling Emperor Yin, he didn't say a single word. This was an emperor. Long Fei did not know how strong they were in that era. But in this world, it could be said that he was invincible. Even if it was just a phantom image, its power was formidable. At least, Long Fei was completely unable to see through his cultivation. Instinctively, Long Fei already had a connection in his heart. If he had guessed it before, now, he was sure that the great Emperor Yin Tian was kowtowing to Long Batian. In this unknown land, the only person who could make a great emperor call himself and lord was Long Batian. Thinking about it, Long Fei remained calm and collected. He quietly probed the dragon scales in his body. However, he was disappointed to find that the dragon scale had not moved at all. You're still pretending? You're still pretending to be deep, aren't you? Long Fei squinted his eyes, staring straight at the dragon scale. He did not move. Initially, he was still confused. Now that Emperor Yin Tian had bowed, Long Fei understood what was going on. Back then, because Zhang Yu was merely the descendant of great Emperor Tang, Long Batian was extremely nervous, and what he met afterwards were all the inheritances of the great emperor's powers. And there's even the god of boundary qualification battles. The participants of this qualification tournament were the inheritors of the emperor. What a coincidence. It was as if everything had been premeditated. Long Batian, let me guess. Are you feeling the same way? Want to take my place so that you can bring your brother to this unknown place to fight for power outside of this region? Long Fei purposely provoked them because he wanted to see how Long Batian would react. The calmer you appear, the more desire you have in your heart. Unfortunately, I will not let you do as you wish. Long Fei said coldly. Regarding Long Batian, Long Fei was also well on his guard. However, the words that he had said a moment ago to stimulate Long Batian was only partly because of the appearance of the system. The 13 sky spill emperors. I don't care what cultivation level the 13 emperors that you, Long Batian, are at, or how awesome they are. There is absolutely no relation with the current state of affairs. I will soon forge 13 great emperors with my own hands. Long Fei said word by word. However, the dragon scales still had no reaction. He was helpless. Long Fei could only retract his state of mind. At this moment, Emperor Yin Tian was still kneeling on the ground with an indifferent expression, as if he was as calm as the wind, and as if he didn't show any dissatisfaction. That, you could get up first, Long Fei said with embarrassment. There was nothing that could be done. One side could not even see their cultivation. How could Long Fei dare to do as he pleased? Bai Hao is a good example. He acted so arrogantly, but in the end, he was beaten into a pig's head. Thank you, my lord, Emperor Yin Tian said with a stern expression. After standing up, Emperor Yin Tian turned around and looked into the sky. Are you still not coming down? Are you waiting for me to pull you down? Emperor Yin Tian looked at the sky-spill beast, his aura overwhelming. In an instant, as if it had lost control of its body, the heavenly evolution beast shrunk in size, and in the end became several hundred meters, 60 meters, and 30 meters large. It landed beside Long Fei. My lord, time is pressing. I won't say any more. I've already deduced it to this day from 10,000 years ago. Therefore, the entire sky-spill secret world is for your sake. I know that you have yet to awaken, but I know that that day is not far away. As Emperor Yin Tian spoke, his eyebrows actually showed some excitement. In short, Master has to hurry. The entire ancient world will not be able to last for long, and only by becoming a god of boundary will you be able to truly preserve this realm. The 13 of us will be waiting for you at the place where the 10,000 worlds will intersect. As Emperor Yin Tian spoke, his figure actually began to fade away. Clearly, this was what he meant by time being short. Long Fei was startled and immediately replied, "Wait, you mean you're still alive?" Long Fei suddenly said. Emperor Yin Tian was startled as he looked at Long Fei thoughtfully. It was ice-cold and emotionless, as if it wanted to penetrate Long Fei's soul. It was as if he was gazing at her from the endless abyss, causing Long Fei to feel as if his entire body was freezing cold and cold sweat to pour down. "You're not." The expression on Emperor Yin Tian's face suddenly became incomparably sinister, but before he finished speaking, he had already disappeared. His strength had been completely used up. The disciples of the Sky-Reaching Clan used up their life source energy, so the amount of sky-spill energy they provided was limited, much less the phantom of a great emperor. F*CK, this is too scary. Luckily, I eventually ran out of strength. Otherwise, I would have been killed by the boss for the first time today. Long Fei said in his heart. Even now, he still had a lingering fear. Emperor Yan's final gaze was too powerful. However, an impassioned feeling also emerged in Long Fei's heart. It's been a long time since I've had this kind of passion. 13 great emperors, 13 bosses, and even a god of boundary battle? Ha! None of you will be able to escape. Long Fei laughed crazily in his heart. To Long Fei, this was basically giving him a perfect clue regarding the script. We were just going to say come over quickly and wait for you here. Master, your smiling appearance is so obscene. Are you interested in Yin Tian? Right at this moment, just as Long Fei was thinking about this, the Sky Evolution Beast suddenly spoke up. Is it true that you talk too much? It's fine that you don't, but I still want to ask you. Aren't you awesome? Didn't they say that Yin Tian would have to walk while lying down, even if he saw you? What happened just now? How did the shadow turn into this kind of appearance with just a few words? Long Fei asked. That, Master, this was an accident. I promise, the next time I see Yin Tian, I will beat the crap out of him and let him know that doing this to me today is an unforgivable sin. The sky-spill beast gnashed its teeth, looking like it couldn't tolerate it. Ha! Long Fei sneered. With regards to the words of the Sky Evolution Beast, Long Fei despised them to the end. All right, how about I use my heavenly divergence force to find Yin Tian and bring him back? Long Fei said. No, Master, I am joking. I also don't know what Yin Tian is playing at. However, that Yin Tianji is so scary. The Sky Spill Beast said, panting, his face filled with grievance and fear. Just knowing is enough. Don't pretend in front of me anymore. Do you hear me? Long Fei said as he called the heavenly beast back into the system. Now it's your turn. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curved into a cold smile as he looked at Bai Hao. As for those disciples of the S, Long Fei was too lazy to even touch them. They were all at the end of their years, and he might even die in the next moment. He might not even have much experience. But Bai Hao was different. Whether it was the Sky Spill Mirror or the Emperor armament that had been sacrificed to Emperor Yin Tian, Long Fei would never let it go. At this time, Bai Hao finally broke free. His face was covered with filth, and his hair was dirty. Long Fei, I will kill you. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. If it wasn't you, Why would I be humiliated like this? I'm going to kill you. Bai Hao flew up into the sky in anger, activated the black staff in his hand to the limit, and smashed it towards Long Fei. You are courting death and cannot live. Bai Hao, you're truly pitiful. Long Fei said indifferently with disdain in her eyes. Long Fei said indifferently with disdain in her eyes. Bai Hao had suffered a crushing defeat. A person who thought he was playing chess was ultimately pushed out of the game. He was just a participant in this sky spill secret world. Not even a bastard. Immobilize. Long Fei stopped smiling and started to attack. Although Bai Hao's cultivation was not weak, Long Fei had never placed him in his eyes. Otherwise, he wouldn't have agreed to the life wager without hesitation. As for killing Bai Hao, that was only because of the explosive scene that was about to occur. Whiz! Bai Hao's face was filled with savagery as he attacked, but he was only halfway there before he was trapped in the void. 7 seconds. In the instant Bai Hao's figure was frozen, Long Fei also sensed through the system that the time needed to use the body securing technique was 7 seconds. In less than a second, perhaps not that long. But with Long Fei's current strength, a second was enough for him to kill Bai Hao countless times. 8 extreme explosion crash. Boom! Long Fei's figure instantly disappeared, and the next time he appeared, he was already in front of Bai Hao. No. Even though he was frozen, his consciousness was still clear. He could feel the killing intent and violent energy coming from Long Fei's body. They immediately panicked. Boom! Asterisk boom! 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 Long Fei did not care. He continued to punch out. All of his punches landed on Bai Hao's vital points. Boom! Asterisk when the last punch was delivered, Bai Hao's body collapsed to the ground. His head was already smashed into smithereens. Long Fei proudly stood in the air. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Bai Hao. You have received 100,000 experience, 10,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value. Ding! Congratulations player on obtaining Sky Reaching Mirror. Ding! Congratulations player for obtaining the Heavenly Handbone. Ding! Congratulations player on killing Yin Tian Inheritor. Obtain the designated inheritance qualification once. The system's voice was incessant and violent. Even Long Fei was surprised. This Bai Hao clearly wasn't a boss, but this time's explosion made it so that there weren't even this many bosses. Especially the last one. It had completely exceeded Long Fei's expectations. Specify an inheritance, right? Hee. It's definitely the woman that's going to be given to me. The first thought that came to Long Fei's mind was actually Yuro. Emperor Yan's inheritance, in addition to the mark he had now, were clearly made for Yuro. This is a lucky chance, plus a 100% good impression. TSK. It feels so good. Long Fei's heart was in turmoil. Ding! The Sky Spill mirror has fused with the Sky Spill power and transformed into the Sky Spill imprint. Ding! Yin Tian Seal Fusion. Ding! Congratulations player for obtaining Sky Evolution Inheritance. The third sound from the system was heard. Long Fei found the Great Emperor system from the system. The Great Emperor Yan's current location was no longer dark, but his identity had yet to be determined. Energy Ball? That's right. If you can refine it, then you'll have more ability to protect yourself in the future. Long Fei thought, his heart throbbing with excitement. However, at this time, the Sky Spill beast suddenly became restless. Master, the power of Sky Spill is gone. The Sky Spill beast was extremely berserk, even more so than it was before when it was threatened by Great Emperor Yin Tian. Calm down. Once I find a master for the inheritance of the power of the sky, everything will be fine. Long Fei coughed dryly and immediately closed the connection, allowing the Sky Evolution beast to roar crazily inside, ignoring it. And at this time, the entire Sky Spill secret world no longer posed any threat to Long Fei. As for those who were already courting death and their life force had been completely exhausted, Long Fei did not even bother looking at them, and directly returned to the top of the shrine. This was his ultimate goal. What did a Bai Hao matter? Destructing the Sky Spill secret world was Long Fei's true goal. The Sky Spill grounds have already been cleared. I've also brought out the Sky Spill beast from the netherworld, a Dumbra fountain. There are only a dozen or so palaces left in the Hall of All Living Things. If they were destroyed, the mission should have been completed. Long Fei analyzed as a great killing weapon appeared in his hand. It instantly transformed into a 9 mountains fault, and then was smashed down heavily by Long Fei. Boom! The Longevity Palace had been destroyed, turning into endless dust, dissipating without a trace amidst the rumbling sounds. Boom! The Exterminating Palace had also been destroyed, leaving not a single trace behind. Long Fei attacked continuously, again and again. Following the continuous descent of the 9th peak, the entire shrine vanished into thin air. It's over, it's all over. My Yin God's tribe is finished. Long Fei, you will die a horrible death. You stole my clan's fortune, and you even annihilated my clan's secret world. You are simply insane. Long Fei, I curse you. If you walk out of Sky Spill's secret world, you will definitely die within my clan's elders and clan leader will definitely tear your corpse into 10,000 pieces. The disciples of the God's tribe who were watching Long Fei destroy the shrine, all had faces full of unwillingness and anger. Their lives had come to an end. There was no cure. At this moment, he was also venting his dissatisfaction. Long Fei gave an indifferent glance and sneered. He smashed down again. This was the last palace, which was also the Sky Spill Palace. Long Fei was sure that this was the crux of the Sky Spill secret world. As long as this palace collapsed, the Sky Spill secret world would lose his power to support it and be annihilated. Boom! Rumble, rumble, rumble. The entire sky was filled with smoke and dust, and the entire Sky Spill secret world was also starting to become restless. Master, the secret world is about to collapse. Let's go. The Sky Spill beast warned, and actually broke through Long Fei's seal and informed him. Without his reminder, Long Fei was naturally aware that the entire secret world was about to collapse. In a moment of thought, Long Fei turned the big killing weapon into a shield, protecting himself with all his might. At this time, where was the Yin God's tribe? In the center of the huge plaza, almost all the Nangong family elders, as well as the patriarch Bai Qi, were already waiting. However, at this moment, Bai Qi and the many elders abruptly turned their gazes towards the sculpture of the great emperor. At this moment, cracks had actually appeared on the gigantic statue. Numerous rocks of unknown origin began to fall from the sky, turning in a fine powder one after another. No, impossible. What happened? Why are the statues of the great emperor collapsing? Chief, what's going on? Everyone didn't know what to do. Bai Qi's face was filled with rage. Damn it. Damn it. Boy, I will make you die a graveless death. Xiao Bai was infuriated to the extreme. He had already guessed what had happened. 10,000 miles away, in the sky, a black shadow fell from the sky at an indescribable speed. Sky Spill Beast, can you be more King reliable? Long Fei cursed. The third time, once again, he experienced what it meant to fall freely from the air. Boom! The huge shockwave was unbearable to even Long Fei, as his body continuously bounced back and noted it down. Just at that moment, just as Long Fei had expected, the system's notification sound rang out once again. Ding! Congratulations, player, for completing the task. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the system's quest of saving the life forms of Yin Tian and destroying Secret World. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the system's quest of saving the life forms of Yin Tian and destroying Secret World. Quest evaluation, S-Class. Ding! Congratulations, player, for obtaining 100 million experience. Ding! Congratulations, player, for obtaining the heavenly shifting secret key number 1. The system's notification rang out continuously. Long Fei finally felt comfortable in his heart. Looking at the 3 secret keys in the air, Long Fei laughed loudly. If what Emperor Yin Tian said was true, and they were still waiting at the 10,000 world intersection, then this secret key definitely had something to do with this place. Oh, 13 great embers. Long Batian, you are truly my lucky star. This is what you call creating a boss for me. Long Face said deliberately. Wang. It was obvious that the dragon's scale inside the space had moved. However, it was only for a moment, and there was no response afterwards. It was only a reaction, but Long Fei was already satisfied. This meant that Long Batian was not indifferent to everything. At the very least, he cared about these brothers who shared the same hardships as him. Long Batian, why don't we discuss this with each other? Look at how many of your brothers are still waiting for you. Why don't you tell me how to get out of this place earlier than you already have, and then you can find your subordinates one day earlier. Long Fei said tentatively. However, there was no response at all. Long Fei was bored, so he did not linger on this question. Little flower, sense the surroundings and see where this is. Long Fei said. Just now, when the Sky Spill's secret world had exploded, Long Fei had located a space according to a general direction. The results were the same as before. If it wasn't for the shield formed by the big killing weapon, Long Fei even dared to doubt that he would become the first player in this system in history to fall to his death. Master, I've already sensed it. A few hundred more kilometers and the Sky Empire will arrive. Within the space, Little Flower said. A few hundred miles? Then let's enter the city and see if there's any danger. Long Fei muttered to himself for a while. The Sky Empire must be a mess right now. There was no need to think about it to know. Half a month had passed since Thousand Sun City. In other words, there were still 2 more months until the qualification battles began. For cultivators, 2 months would pass in the blink of an eye. Even the slightest concocting of a pill or weapon would pass. Long Fei did not attract too much attention. After flying for a distance, just as he entered the vicinity of the Sky Empire, Long Fei went over on foot. The Sky Empire's empire was simply too dazzling. Just a single main street was enough to shock Long Fei to the point that it was hard to describe. The place was carved with jade. It was a magnificent palace, and there was also a defensive array engraved with runes. Upon entering, a sense of security swept over them. Just as he entered the city, Long Fei's legs suddenly stopped. The entire Sky Spill system began to operate on its own, as if there was some power within the city that caused it to tremble. F***CK6. Long Fei looked at the Sky Spill Great Emperor system, and saw that in the system there was the Emperor of the Nine-Turbid Great Emperor, the Flying Immortal Great Emperor, the God of Underworld, the Ancient Emperor, the Great Emperor of the Fallen Land, and the Great Emperor of the Violet Star Realm. An aura began to flicker from within. It was as if he had met a force similar to his own. Long Fei was already unable to suppress the excitement in his heart, and his face revealed a smile. F***CK, this is awesome. This is 6 of them. In the Sky Spill system, there were a total of 13 Great Emperors. Currently, there were already 3 Emperors in his possession: Longevity, Yin Tian, and Emperor Corrupt. Adding these 6 into the mix, it was equivalent to gathering the 9 Supremes in one fell swoop. No, I have to find them. Long Fei was extremely excited, especially right now. These people were all rushing towards the God of Boundary. If he could turn the inheritance of the Emperor into his own people before this, then why would he need to fight with the qualifications of the God of Boundary? It all landed in his hands. Just as Long Fei was thinking about this, numerous rays of golden light flashed in the sky and instantly attracted Long Fei's attention. Boss! Long Fei hurriedly looked over and realized that it was only a group of golden armor bodyguard. No way. Bosses are too rare these days. Everything looks like a boss. Long Fei mocked himself in his heart and did not want to care about it. The reason why he came to the Sky Empire first was to see what dangers awaited him. Naturally, he had to keep a low profile. But just as Long Fei was about to leave, a shout came from the crowd, interrupting his path. Yes, you're the newcomer to the city. Follow me. The person who spoke was also a young man. He wore a loose robe and a feather scarf, and he even swayed a little. Long Fei was startled and looked at him. Are you calling me? Long Fei asked indifferently. Yes, that's right. It's you. Now that you have been expropriated, come with me so as not to make me angry and suffer. The person said. Immediately, Long Fei was extremely depressed in his heart. Do I look so easy to bully? How dare a random person come and find trouble with him? What if I don't? Long Fei said indifferently as the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. What? No, brat, I think you're courting death. You're merely a fourth-level ancient era's supreme elder. How dare you reject me? Could it be that you are unable to see what cultivation I have? I am an ancient era's almighty level 8. You dare to reject me? As he spoke, the aura exuded from that person's body, as well as the cultivation of a cultivator at the 8th level of the ancient era. Long Fei sneered. There was not the slightest sense of oppression. The 8th level of the ancient era's great power, from the looks of it now, was nothing more than a pile of dregs. But at this time, a burst of laughter sounded, carrying contempt and ridicule. Oh, isn't this our unintentional young noble? Why, haven't you found someone to replace yourself yet? Haha, this is the last day. If you're still not able to catch the strong, you'll be forced into the cannon fodder camp to attack the oscillating gods tribe. Ha! Isn't it normal for cannon fodder to run in response? The crowd laughed without any concealment. Thoughtless face had turned red, as if he was ashamed. Long Fei watched in interest, but what he was more concerned with was the attack on the gods tribe that they had mentioned. This point was within Long Fei's expectations. When Secret World, Yin had opened it back then, the strange movements of the statues had already attracted a look at it from the outside world. Right now, even the Sky Spill Secret World had collapsed. It was normal for the Sky Spill Gods tribe to be exposed. A legacy that could lay down a living world in the midst of nothingness could definitely make even Super Powerhouse jealous. Not good. The Tianyin city is closest to the Yintian race. If this was caused by the Tianyin city, doesn't that mean that the current Yu Rou and the Great Vudra are not safe? Long Fei was shocked. Thinking about it, Long Fei's face suddenly changed. Unexpectedly, the people in the distance all thought that Long Fei was afraid. Trash. To be able to be frightened by a piece of trash. Either he is inferior to trash, or he is an extremely large trash. The person who had mocked him earlier said coldly. Long Fei's eyes were ice cold. If not for the worry in his heart, Long Fei would have definitely intervened. Let's go. You've requisitioned me. Furthermore, Long Fei had always wanted to keep a low profile. It just so happened that the situation in front of him could become a stepping stone for Long Fei. At the same time, the expression on Unintentional's face instantly turned gloomy and filled with joy. Haha, he agreed. Did you hear that? He has already been expropriated by me. Finally, I don't have to be cannon fodder to become the next God's tribe. Thoughtless laughed wildly. I'm just finding something even more trashy than you. Even if you don't need to be cannon fodder, don't be happy too early. You're still a piece of trash. So what if you don't want to be cannon fodder? If you're not cannon fodder, then you can have a place in the sect. Let me tell you, our Lee family will definitely not tolerate trash like you. A few of them spoke angrily, looking at Wu Xin with contempt. Thoughtless face was livid, and a strong sense of unwillingness and hatred emerged from between his brows. Li Wuqing, how can you be like this? I have already completed the clan's training, and the mission at home has already been completed. The patriarch said that he would give me a chance. He was not in the mood to retort. A slap fell. 5 bright red guides appeared on his face. You dog of a thing, you still dare talk back? If not for finding such a piece of trash to replace you, you would have already entered the cannon fodder battalion. Li Wuqing's face was filled with a dark ruthlessness as he spoke. Wu Xin didn't say anything as he felt the pity and mockery in the eyes of the surrounding people. He felt ashamed. You're going too far. An angry look appeared on his face. But in the eyes of Li Wuqing and the others, this anger seemed to have found a new method of ridicule. Oh, you're angry. Why don't you hit me? I'm standing right here. If you dare, try it. That's right. If you have the guts, then do it. Trash is the same as your mother, born to be a lowly existence. I'll tell you the truth. Even if you escape being cannon fodder, you'll still die a horrible death. Li Wuqing and the rest laughed even more brazenly as they spoke. Pow! However, at this moment, a crisp sound broke through the laughter. Everyone on the street looked at the scene in disbelief. Li Wuqing's laughter suddenly stopped, but his face still maintained his smile. He didn't seem to be able to react in time. However, a moment later, "Aw, you dare to attack? You trash dare to hit me?" Li Wuqing was unable to contain his anger, and the anger in his eyes erupted. "You're rebelling, kid. You actually dared to interfere in the matters of my Li family. You, a trash that even Li Wuqing could not resist, actually dared to attack young Master Wuqing. Yes, in this empire, no one has ever dared to make a move against young Master Wuqing. To touch young Master Wuqing is to slap my Li family's face." The two lackeys beside Li Wuqing now naturally stood forward. Long Fei indifferently swept a glance and looked at Li Wuqing. "If I were you, I'd call back. As long as you make a move, I'll carry the consequences for you. But if you choose to swallow your anger, then even a god will not be able to save you," Long Fei said to Li Wuqing seriously. Actually, Long Fei never wanted to meddle in other people's business. After all, his current core points were all related to the god of boundary qualification battles. With regards to the other matters, Long Fei naturally maintained an attitude of as little as possible. But just now, Li Wuxin's angry roar had aroused a resonance with the Sky Spill Great Emperor's system. Therefore, Long Fei wanted to gamble. Of course, if Li Wuxin didn't even have the guts to choose to continue being a lowly ant, Long Fei would rather miss the opportunity to do so than give him the qualifications to do so. His brothers would be able to support both heaven and earth. If in order to survive, he could even disregard his dignity and the humiliation of his birth mother. Long Fei definitely would not do that. Li Wuxin fell silent. At this moment, a fight between heaven and earth had already begun in his heart. He looked at Long Fei, then looked at Li Wuqing. It was as if his heart had gone through an intense struggle. "Trash, they're all trash. What are you all waiting for? Go and cripple these two trash," Li Wuqing roared. This slap was something he had never experienced before in his life. As the son of the Li family's second master, he had been raised with a golden spoon since birth. He was a famous popinjay in the capital who would dare to provoke him. But now, he was slapped by a piece of trash that he had always seen as a toy. This rage caused him to lose all reason. His two henchmen would not dare to hesitate at this moment. On the contrary, they would treat this matter as a happy occasion. "You're blind. How dare you attack young Master Wuqing? Kid, I'll take your right hand," a dog leg said. A right hand? This was laying him off too easily. Since he's just a cannon fodder, I might as well just make him into a human example so that he can become the lowliest thing in the world. Another said. A cold light flashed through Long Fei's eyes. Human body, in his previous life, he had some understanding of this thing. He didn't expect that the people from the Li family would be able to do such a thing. Instantly, killing intent rose up in Long Fei's heart. "Tell me your choice. You only have this one chance. If you choose to fight, it will be considered as the time has come for the heavens to collapse. I will support you. If you choose to go easy on me, you can stand over there and point your spear at me." Long Fei stared at Li Wuxing and said. The struggle in Li Wuxing's eyes became more and more intense. In the end, his pupils turned blood red. He looked at Long Fei and groaned. "I'll do it, but not because of you. I've endured for more than 20 years. This time, I don't want to endure anymore. Even if I die, I want to let them know that I, Li Wuxing, am also a man of flesh and blood. I'm not trash, and I'm not a disgrace to the Li family." Li Wuxing said one word at a time, and at the end, she rushed past Long Fei and punched him. Boom! Asterisk boom. Asterisk 2 clashing sounds could be heard. Li Wuxing's two dogs were caught unprepared. They had no time to react, or perhaps it could be said that they never thought Li Wuxing would actually resist. After being struck by a fist, they were directly sent flying. However, Li Wuxin did not stop and walked towards Li Wuqing. Li Wuqing had already recovered by this time. As he looked at Li Wuxin, who walked over with a baleful face, not only did he not panic, but a sinister look appeared on his face, mixed with killing intent. Good for Li Wuxin. You've learned to resist, haven't you? It looks like you don't want your dog life anymore. Haha. But it just so happens that as long as you die, your lowly mother will never again receive even the slightest bit of pity from an elder. TSK. I believe there are many places in this empire that would like to take in that charming mother of yours. Ha ha! Li Wuqing laughed loudly. Li Wuqing, I want you dead. Killing intent burst out of Li Wuxin's scarlet eyes. And Li Wuxin himself had completely lost all sense of reason, rushing forward to attack. Long Fei remained silent and did not move. However, there was a storm raging in his heart, because at this moment, in the Sky Spill Emperor's system, the Emperor's aura that he had sensed before actually began to slowly activate. Ding! Congratulations, player, on activating the quest, taking the power inheritor of the Emperor of Destruction, Li Wuxin. Time of mission, 10 days. Quest level, 8 class. Task reward, 50 million experience points, a random Great Emperor's successor's information. Long Fei thought. Fortunately, he had reacted in the first place, acting as Li Wuxin's platform. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for him to issue this mission. And this also meant that Li Wuxin was the person he was looking for. However, based on Li Wuxin's previous reaction, it made Long Fei feel a little helpless. This kind of extreme suppression had completely disregarded life and death. Unless one did something that could truly move him, it would not be easy to subdue him. Thinking about it, Long Fei looked at Li Wuxin. At this time, Li Wuxin had already erupted, appearing to have gone insane. It was as if a single sentence from Li Wuxing had touched upon the heart of Li Wuxin. It made Li Wuxin explode with killing intent. You want to kill me? Let's see what you are. Boom! Asterisk. Li Wuxing suddenly struck out with his palm, blasting Li Wuxin away. Boom! Li Wuxin's body fell down heavily, cracks appearing on the stone floor. This kind of impact forced the surrounding onlookers to back off abruptly. Yeah, this is the Li family's palm of destruction. I heard it is related to the Extermination Emperor, but I don't know if it's true or false. However, the power of this palm strike is truly extraordinary. I'm afraid that it has already infinitely neared the level of a super perfection. This is nothing. The Li family's most powerful Li Wujiang is the top scholar of our Sky Empire, with an unfathomable cultivation. He is also the general in charge of this attack on the Sky Spill Gods tribe. Looks like the Li family is bound to rise to prominence. The surrounding people were extremely envious. When they saw the power of Li Wuqing's palm strike, all of them were full of praise. Long Fei's eyes also changed slightly. After hearing that the power was related to the Emperor of the Extinction Realm, he looked at Li Wuxin. This was because the Emperor's chi that Li Wuxin had triggered the unusual movement of the Sky Spill system was also the Emperor's chi of extermination. There's no mistake. It seems that Li Wuxin is the fourth great emperor that I want to nurture. Long Fei's eyes flashed. After taking a few quick steps, he arrived in front of Li Wuxin. At this moment, Li Wuxin was already severely injured, but within her frail body, her eyes were as determined as ever. She forced herself up, wanting to get up from the ground. Very well, you have made your choice. Then, the rest is my business. Long Fei chuckled. I don't need you. Furthermore, I originally wanted to harm you, but I also have my own difficulties. My mother's current situation is extremely dangerous, so I'm afraid that if I die on the battlefield, no one will be able to take care of my mother. However, it seems that I was too naive. No matter how hard I try, they would never let our hearts go, so even if I do my best, the result would still be the same. I might as well risk my life. It's just that, my mother, cough cough. The more Li Wuxin spoke, the more excited he became. In the end, his breath was not smooth, and he spat out a few blood arrows. Don't worry, I've already said it. As long as you make a choice, I will do the rest, even if the sky falls. Long Fei said calmly. He was the one who gave him the chance. Li Wuxin did not disappoint him. So how could Long Fei change his mind temporarily? I will not disappoint my brother. It was Long Fei's life guideline. But you're just courting death. Even I can scare you so much. What's the use of saying such arrogant words? I told you, the reason why I attacked was because I didn't want to endure anymore. Li Wuxin said. Huh. Long Fei chuckled and did not explain. If Li Wuxin was not injured right now, Long Fei would have directly slapped him. You actually dare to say you scared me so badly with such little cultivation? Li Wuxin, you are the man with the least foresight in my heart. Just watch if I beat them to the ground. How about you acknowledge me as your boss? Long Fei asked with a smile. Li Wuxin looked at Long Fei in disbelief, thinking that Long Fei was just messing with him. Enough, go. I don't want to kill you. Li Wuxing's cultivation is already at the 9th level of the Ancient Supreme Elder. Combined with the Li family's palm strike, he would even be able to fight against a super great circle. You are only at the 4th level of the Ancient Realm. If you go there, you will only be sending yourself to your death. Li Wuxin said with a gloomy face. Li Wuxing, since things have already come to this, I have no intention of living. However, this matter started because of me. If you want to kill me, then kill me. Don't make things difficult for others. Moreover, he's only an ant at the 4th level of the ancient strengthening technique. Killing him wouldn't give you any pleasure at all. Come on, kill me. Li Wuxin was on the verge of roaring. Every time he opened his mouth, blood oozed out. From this, it could be seen how severely injured he was. Long Fei, who was at the side, was once again speechless. Once again, he was despised. But before he could open his mouth, Li Wuxing's voice had already sounded. Let him go? Ha ha, Li Wuxin, have you gone stupid? He hit me just now. You want to leave after beating me up in the capital? Do you think he's a crown prince or a prince? If you hurt me, you have to repay it with your life. Besides, wasn't he awesome just now? Didn't he say that the sky would fall down and he would carry it? I want to see what kind of resistance he will use. Li Wuxing's eyes turned cold as he spoke. Extermination palm. 2 pieces of trash, go and die for me. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A chilling intent appeared out of nowhere. The surrounding wind and clouds became extremely quiet. The faces of the surrounding onlookers also changed as they all retreated backwards. He's serious. This palm is so powerful. Such a violent power. It truly deserves its reputation as an annihilation. It wants to completely annihilate everything. Even from so far away, I can still feel the fear. This kid is dead for sure. The expressions of the crowd from afar all changed when they saw this palm strike descending. In their eyes, Long Fei was already definitely going to die. No, Li Wuxing, stop. Li Wuxin hurriedly said, but he was already severely injured. So forget about stopping him. He couldn't even stand up to dodge it. But at this moment, the scene before him caused Li Wuxin's eyes to fall. You, Li Wuxin said with a trembling voice, his speech already unclear. Too powerful. No, it should be called a miracle, because at this moment, in front of him, Long Fei actually did not receive any kind of impact, but instead walked in front of him and blocked off all of his strength. How is this possible? Could it be that you? Li Wuxin still didn't dare to believe it. He felt as if his heart had been rebaptized. It was too shocking. To him, this scene was completely beyond his knowledge. Long Fei smiled and said indifferently, What? Was it a surprise? It's just that he's at the 9th level of an ancient almighty being. Is he really that strong? Is it very strong? Is it very strong? Long Fei's disdainful tone was like a bomb that weighed a few thousand kilograms. The sound echoed in everyone's heart, especially the spectators in the distance. At this moment, their shock had long since far surpassed Li Wuxin's, because previously, their preconceived idea made them feel that Long Fei was already dead. As long as they were hit by this palm, their heart would definitely have ruptured and they would die. But now, before the palm had landed, Long Fei was still speaking frankly with assurance. It made them feel a burning pain on their faces. This is fake. It must be fake. F***. What a sinister brat, playing the pig to eat the tiger. Must have been pretending from beginning to end. It looks like young Master Wu Qing has also kicked an iron board this time. They couldn't believe it, but they had no choice but to believe it. Even if Long Fei's words made them feel extremely unhappy, as if their eyes had already been eaten by dogs. However, they didn't dare to say anything else, because Long Fei was very strong. This palm strike was so far away that it made them feel fear. Their entire bodies trembled, but Long Fei did not change anything. This meant that Long Fei's cultivation level was not something they could compare to. As for Li Wuqing, he was equally astonished. His eyes were wide open, and the hatred and killing intent in his eyes were replaced by terror. No, you're just a piece of trash. How can you be so relaxed under the pressure of my power? I don't believe it. Apocalypse Palm, fall for me. Li Wuqing roared, and his cultivation base exploded with power. Whoosh! Suddenly, the power released from that palm was much more tyrannical than the one he used to attack Li Wuqing. Quickly dodge it, Li Wuqing shouted. Even if Long Fei had a relaxed performance before, now that Li Wuqing had used all of his cultivation, he did not think Long Fei could withstand it. But Long Fei smiled faintly. He turned around and looked at Li Wuqing. The corners of his mouth slightly moved. Level 8 burst. Long Fei said softly, "Boom!" A punch exploded. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The two forces collided in the void, and a pair of palm shadows directly shattered with a loud bang. My hand, Li Wuqing screamed. He only saw that the palm he used to strike had been pierced through, leaving behind a huge bloody hole in the middle. Fresh blood gushed out from the wound. This scene shocked everyone present, especially Li Wuqing. Now he knew that Long Fei had been hiding his strength since the beginning. F***, so he's this strong? Just now, I was recklessly trying to use him as a cannon fodder. Li Wuqing had no strength to retort in his heart. He thought that luckily Li Wuqing and the others had arrived. If not for them, he might have been the one fighting against Long Fei. At that time, even if he died, he wouldn't know how he would die. You should hurry up and leave. With such a large-scale shockwave, the Li family must be shocked. If you wait for the Li family's expert to arrive, you won't be able to escape even if you want to, Li Wuqing said. Long Fei turned around indifferently, looked at Li Wuqing, who had a sincere face, and said, Long Fei, do not have the habit of giving up on brothers. As I said just now, if I can stop him, you can acknowledge me as your boss. Since you're already my brother, of course I can't run by myself. I'll leave you to come down and carry me, Long Fei said with a smile. Let's just treat it as a joke from before. I can't leave. My mother is still here. I definitely can't leave my mother here by herself, Li Wuqing insisted. Long Fei was startled and became more satisfied with Li Wuqing. However, after experiencing all of this, Long Fei knew better than Li Wuqing that if he continued to stay here, he would truly bring about the death of his mother. Thinking about it here, Long Fei directly said, the more it is like this, the more we should leave. But don't worry, we'll be back soon. When you return, the entire Li family will tremble beneath your feet. Long Fei looked at Li Wuqing and said seriously. Li Wuqing laughed bitterly, as if Long Fei was trying to deceive him. He shook his head and said, forget it. You should leave. It's not worth dying for someone like me. Moreover, what you saw was Li Wuqing, and he wasn't even worth mentioning in the Li family. There's no way we can get away. Li Wuqing did not have the slightest bit of confidence, and he had already lost the courage to fight with all his might. Long Fei still wanted to say something, but Li Wuqing, who was at the side, opened his mouth. Leave? You two bastards, none of you can leave. I have already informed my elder brother, and when he arrives, you will know what it means by wishing for death, Li Wuqing said while clenching his teeth. His crippled right hand was limply lying at the side, as if he was venting the anger in his heart. Hearing that, Long Fei's face changed slightly. Not afraid. He didn't want to waste time. Right now, The Sky Empire was already preparing to attack the Yin God's tribe. This was what Long Fei was worried about. Of course, Long Fei did not care about whether Yu Yang survived or not. What Long Fei truly cared about was being gentle to Li Yuanba. Thinking about that, Long Fei turned around and captured Li Wuxin in his arms. Li Wuxin still wanted to struggle, but Long Fei's wrist strength had already reached several tens of thousands of kilograms. So how could Li Wuxin struggle to get away? Cut the crap. You will naturally know in the future that I, Long Fei, never swindle my teammates. As Long Fei spoke, he turned around and glanced at Li Wuxing. The next time we meet, you'd better pinch your tail and be a good person. Otherwise, I'll definitely make you regret coming to this world. With these words, Long Fei flew off into the distance. You dog, if you don't leave, I'll definitely let you know what it means to be absolutely miserable. Li Wuxing looked at Long Fei's leaving figure and said with hatred. But there was nothing he could do. He was injured. His right hand was crippled, and his meridians were in disarray from Long Fei's punch. So. Just at this time, streams of golden armor bodyguard descended and came to Li Wuxing's side. Young master, what's going on? Who hurt you? A golden armored guard stepped forward and said, What took you guys so long? Don't tell me my brothers raise you guys to eat sh*t. All of you are af*king bunch of trash. I'll tell you guys that the one who hurt me is Li Wuxin, and I'll give you guys 3 days' time, as well as a random brat who came out of nowhere. If you can't find it, then come to me with your dog heads. Li Wuxing said fiercely. Yes, sir. The golden armored guard in the lead gritted his teeth as he spoke. Li Wuxing coldly snorted and was quickly supported back to the hospital by someone else. At this time, in a mountain range outside of Sky Empire's capital, Long Fei had already stopped. What? You want to join the cannon fodder battalion? No, absolutely not. The highest commander there is Li Wuya. If we go there, we will definitely die without a burial ground. Li Wuxin continuously shook her head and repeatedly refused. Long Fei shrugged his shoulders, looking indifferent. I'm not talking to you. I'm telling you my decision. If you believe me, what I said is still valid. If you don't believe me, then you can go back. In the future, your life or death has nothing to do with me. 2,000 miles away, in the army camp of the Sky Empire. 2,000 miles away, in the army camp of the Sky Empire, Long Fei and Li Wuxin successfully snuck in. After all, the two of them had volunteered to be cannon fodder. The entire army is to return to order. After 6 hours, the troops will begin to move towards the God's tribe. Just as Long Fei and Li Wuxin had changed into their cannon fodder clothing for less than 15 minutes, an assembly order exploded within the entire army camp. Are you in such a hurry? Long Fei was a little doubtful. Previously on a long street, when Li Wuxin said that she would make him her cannon fodder, Li Wuxing said that today was the last day. However, his heart had actually been moved forward. I don't know what's going on either. Initially, according to the plan, they planned to assemble a cannon fodder battalion to serve as the vanguard in attacking God's tribe. Only tomorrow would be their departure. Li Wuxin was also shocked. When marching, the taboo was changing the rules. If something special had not happened, it would not have affected the military order at all. It seems like this is the aftermath of my destruction of the Sky Spill secret world. Long Fei guessed this in his heart, but he did not show any signs of abnormality. At this time, a tiger-shaped man, over 10 feet tall and clad in armor, walked to the front of the army. I assume you all know what your mission is? The muscles and veins on the tiger-shaped man's body bulged, as if each of his movements carried explosive power. Long Fei looked at the person in front of him and instinctively thought of Li Yuanba. But even if it was Li Yuanba, she would not be able to do anything in front of him. Not bad. You're just a bunch of cannon fodder. It couldn't even be considered a piece of trash. It could even be recycled. But you guys, your only use is to send yourselves to your deaths. As the large man spoke, his eyes revealed no emotion, as if he didn't care about the lives of these people. However, I can tell you the truth. If anyone dares to run away, As the big man spoke, A trace of hostility flashed across his eyes. "If you go, you will most likely die. But if I don't go, I'll be dead." As soon as he finished, in the cannon fodder battalion, there were already people trembling. Each level of his hoarse wails was louder than the last. "My lord, please let me go. I don't want to be cannon fodder. I was duped to come here. I don't want to be cannon fodder. Lord, I have an 80-year-old mother and a 3-year-old son. Lord, let me go. I'll go find my nephew." Voices rose and fell one after another, filling the void. Some people even fainted after hearing what the big man said. "TSK, TSK, please, I beg of you. I, Tiambadeo, hate deserters the most." As the big man spoke, he took a step forward with his fat body. Boom! The earth shook. This kick actually caused the ground in a radius of several miles to shake violently. As for those who had spoken earlier, they were instantly repelled back into the void. The moment it landed, it was caught by Tiambadéo's palm. Sigh. Asterisk of bloody and violent scene appeared. The few people who pleaded for mercy were torn apart by Tiambadéo. Blood and flesh scattered all over the place, and it was an exceptionally fearsome sight. "Who else?" Tiamba bellowed. "Anyone else who wants to leave, I'll grant him that wish." As Tiambadéo spoke, the bloodthirsty look in his eyes flickered as he continued to search the crowd for targets. Instantly, all sound vanished in a thin air. They were afraid of death, but they were more willing to give it a try. Even if it was a narrow escape from death, it was better than being torn apart by such a violent attack. "Ha, very good. As cannon fodder, you should have the resolve to be cannon fodder. Now, all of you, get on this ship." Tiambadéo laughed loudly. He was extremely arrogant. Instantly, a curtain of darkness descended from the sky, obscuring even the light of day. The entire earth was covered. Long Fei lifted his head to look, and his heart slightly stirred. Isn't this the upgraded version of an aircraft carrier? You could travel in the void? Long Fei thought. This giant ship was very large. One couldn't even see the end of it with the naked eye. So. One figure after another began to madly rush into the ship. Even if they were forced to do so in the next moment, they would still carry out their mission of being cannon fodder. However, they were still crazily boarding the ship, afraid that they would be displeased if they were a step too late. In just a moment, tens of thousands of cannon fodder battalions had all boarded their ships. Long Fei and Li Wuxin were at the edge of the arena. Li Wuxin's face was bitter as he spoke. "As you can see, I've already said before that entering this cannon fodder camp means certain death. When he attacked, he already knew what the result would be. However, he still felt regret in his heart. As he spoke, he looked at Long Fei. Seeing that Long Fei was not in the mood to speak, he could only shut his mouth. Long Fei's face fell as he looked at the scene before him. He did not care about Li Wuxin's words. Cannon fodder? It doesn't exist. Even if he was facing God's tribune, Long Fei felt no pressure to himself. What he was considering now was whether or not the change in the cannon fodder camp had been caused by God's tribune. Would he vent his anger on Li Yuanba just because he had disappeared? In the blink of an eye, the warship moved at high speed. In just a few moments, it had traveled tens of thousands of kilometers. Suddenly, the ship slowed down. We're finished, we're here. Are we going to die? Why don't we attack together later? I don't believe that God tribe is so powerful that they can kill tens of thousands of us. How about, let's run. This cannon fodder camp is basically sending us to our deaths. The moment the large ship stopped, the people on the ship had already begun to waver. They were simply too afraid of death. In fact, they could even predict that once the ship stopped, the gate of death would be waiting for them. Only Long Fei and Li Wuxin remained calm. Li Wuxin was already prepared to die after seeing the difference between life and death in front of him. But Long Fei, however, he did not take these things seriously at all. Boom! At that moment, the warship suddenly stopped and opened up in a flash. Tiambadéo walked up once again. You are all very lucky. Tonight, you will be able to get away with it. Now you all can enjoy the last moments of your lives, but I can tell you all this. Whoever dares to leave the warship, I don't mind tearing a few more people apart to make tonight's food and wine. Tion Bideo threatened coldly, after which Tion Bideo turned around and left. And at this time, Long Fei also saw someone familiar. It could be said that Long Fei had wanted to kill him a long time ago, and had no chance to do so. Long Fei was also slightly surprised in his heart. He did not expect to see this person in the cannon fodder camp. However, seeing this person together with Tian Ba, he muttered in his heart, "That's right, this person was the Zither." At this time, Gu Qin also saw Long Fei. After saying a few words to Tian Ba's side in a low voice, he started laughing loudly. "Tiske, who is this? Isn't that the person who had a life wager with the young master of the Yenshu God's tribe? How did you become a cannon fodder battalion?" "Ha ha, lame duck. Do you know what it means to meet me here?" Shwa shwa shwa. Shwa shwa shwa. In unison, everyone silently took a step back. It was as if maintaining a distance from Long Fei was asking for death. Li Wuxin looked at Long Fei with slight hesitation, but in the end, he did not move a single step. Long Fei shifted his gaze, looked at the Zither, and smiled faintly in the end. "What is it? Haven't you had enough? Do you want to die by crawling over here?" Long Fei said coldly. Regarding the Gu Qin, Long Fei had never let his killing intent go. If such a person were to live, even in his dreams, Long Fei would not laugh. "Oomph, a dead duck has a stubborn mouth. Long Fei, right? This young master will not be polite and tell you this. If you meet me, you're dead for sure. You are just cannon fodder from the cannon fodder battalion. Don't say anything else. Just a single word from me will cause you to die without a complete corpse. Do you believe me?" Gu Qin said arrogantly. "You want me to die with a single word? All right, why don't you try it? If you can't kill me, you're my grandson." Long Fei's eyes flashed with contempt. If he wanted to leave, forget about the Gu Qin. Even Tian Ba and Long Fei wouldn't be able to see him in his eyes. "Humph, kid, once you enter the cannon fodder camp, you will be nothing but cannon fodder. Who dares to act so arrogantly in front of young Master Gu?" At this moment, Tian Bideo appeared. It was obvious that he was fawning over the Zither. "Ha ha, do you see that? Brat, I don't even need to say anything. The people who want to kill you can line up to the Tianyin city from here. You never know how amazing our Gu family is." The Zither laughed, its eyes full of playfulness. Then, he turned to look at Tian Bideo. "General Tian, I don't think we need to wait until tomorrow. Why don't we just let them leave now? However, I want this kid to be the first one." The Zither said, Of course young Master Gu can say that." Tian Bideo smiled in a flattering manner. However, the smile that hung on his face made him look even more ridiculous and sinister. "Kid, originally, you still had a night to live, but now you don't have the chance. You and the kid beside you come out." Tian Bideo spoke arrogantly, not allowing the slightest hint of rejection. Swish! Everyone in the cannon fodder battalion looked on with fear as they took another step back. Pity, bitterness, sadness, schadenfreude. A variety of emotions gathered in their faces. But even so, no one dared to approach Long Fei, afraid that they would be implicated. Li Wuxin's face was filled with indignation, and his breathing quickened, as if the boundless rage that was suppressed in his heart was about to erupt. "Let's go all out. In any case, there's only death in the end. I've already taken this step, so I don't want to feel aggrieved anymore. If I'm destined to die, then I'll fight to the death." As Li Wuxin spoke, he took off the hat on his head and threw away the fan in his hand. At the same time, a wave of killing intent exploded out. Long Fei slightly raised his eyebrows as his heart once again shook. Although Li Wuxin's actions were casual and light, it still caused Long Fei to feel a sense of annihilation. Transformation. This is what true transformation is like. Long Fei was extremely moved by this unexpected gain. This change was even more pleasurable than making Long Fei's heart feel good while killing his Zither. Li Wuxin was a powerful existence that was related to the Emperor of Destruction. Once his power awakened, he would become an emperor in the future. There's no need to fight, it's just a tyrant of the field, And there's also the young master of the Tianyan city. Just kill him. Long Fei said indifferently. Fight? Was there need to go all out at this level? One was at the 6th or 7th level of the ancient era, while the other was at the 7th level of the great complete realm. With this cultivation, he was able to suppress them with a flip of his hand. Li Wuxin was startled and looked at Long Fei bitterly. I always felt that I'd already become muddle-headed, but I never thought that you would be so awesome that you could even deceive yourself. I still have a killing move that can cause chaos. When the time comes, you can take the opportunity to escape. Think of it as an apology for my actions earlier. Li Wuxin said, as he did not believe Long Fei at all. Even if Long Fei's strength was not bad, he did not think that he was Tianba's opponent. Long Fei's face was filled with astonishment as he shook his head slightly. Even if he was telling the truth, he was still not recognized. And at this time, Long Fei could no longer have any other choice. Tian Badeo's figure had already landed on the ground. His burly body, which was like a small mountain, landed heavily on the ground. Puff, puff, puff. Several of the men from the cannon fodder battalion were smashed by the impact, turning into a bloody paste. Don't. We are innocent. Lord General, it is all this brat's fault. If you want to kill him, then kill him. That's right. The one who deserves to die is him. It's him who offended the young master of the Tianyan city. It has nothing to do with us. That's right. We can suppress him and hand him to the general, as long as he gives us a chance at survival. Countless of people from the cannon fodder camp begged for mercy, and at the same time stood opposite to Long Fei. Long Fei's eyes were cold. This situation was nothing out of the ordinary. But what made him depressed was, did he look like a soft persimmon? You guys are truly hopeless, Entering the cannon fodder camp is already a certain death situation for you guys. Instead of thinking about how to break through, how to find the possibility to survive, you guys are instead begging for mercy. If we were to stand together and fight them, someone would definitely be able to escape. However, Li Wuxin was different. When she heard that they were actually going to join forces and attack Long Fei, she immediately became anxious. If they were to make the first move, he would give his all and completely destroy any hope he had of Long Fei. Humph, kid, you're deceiving us less. Tomorrow, at least, we still have hope, yet you want us to die right now. As expected of the wolf's ambition, right? If I go with you, I'll only be sending myself to my death. Only a retard like you would be together with a trash. Countless shouts had appeared. At this moment, they were already in a state of hatred towards Long Fei. Not only that, there were some people who were secretly accumulating their power, preparing to attack Long Fei. No, you are cutting off your own path of retreat. I can guarantee that some of you will survive the first charge later on, Li Wuxin said anxiously. But just as he finished speaking, a pair of hands appeared on his shoulders. It was Long Fei. Forget it. You will never wake up a person who pretends to be asleep. They've long since lost their faith. Even if they live, they're still no better than a dog, Long Fei said indifferently. However, at this time, the Guqin's laughter came once again from the top of the large ship. Long Fei, do you think you can still continue acting like that? Oi, you group of cannon fodder, listen up. If anyone can kill Long Fei, I will contact his identity as a cannon fodder and let him leave safely. As soon as he said that, the entire cannon fodder battalion went into a frenzy. Everyone's eyes turned blood red. Kill. I will kill him. Scram. Whoever dares to steal from me will be killed by me. Ha ha ha, he is mine now. As long as I kill him, I will no longer be cannon fodder. After the voice sounded out, the rioting started. Hundreds of people took the initiative to attack Long Fei. With just 3 steps, he was already an enemy of the human world. With just 3 steps, he was already an enemy of the human world. On the battleship, the group of people in the cannon fodder battalion had already been stimulated to the point that they wanted to live. And if they wanted to live, they had to make a move against Long Fei. Suddenly, tens of thousands of people moved at the same time. Countless types of power appeared in the air, incomparably brilliant. How could this be? How could it be like this? We're done for this time. We're really going to die here. Li Wuxin said softly, but the movements of his hands were not slow at all. Almost in the instant that the cannon fodder battalion attacked, they were blocking in front of Long Fei. Long Fei's heart warmed. He could feel that Li Wuxin was just a kind of instinctual reaction. Long Fei calmly took a step forward and pulled Li Wuxin behind him. Don't try to show off. Is this something you can handle? I've said this before. Even if the sky falls, it will still be me who will resist. Long Fei said and threw out a punch. Boom! The wind from his fists surged. And in this instant, Long Fei did not hide anything. He would make his move when he needed to, otherwise he would always be pinched like a soft persimmon. He was truly displeased, especially the group of cannon fodder who were so weak in Long Fei's eyes that they could only be described as cannon fodder. This made Long Fei even more unable to endure it. If they did not make a move, Long Fei would not even bother to care, and might even be able to give them a chance to live. After all, Long Fei had never intended to stay in the cannon fodder camp. The reason he came to this place was to help him avoid trouble with the Li family. Now, after seeing the Guqin, even if Long Fei wanted to hide it, he couldn't. Since he couldn't be at peace, he might as well face it head-on. In any case, they had already reached Tianyuan City, so it would only be a matter of time before they were exposed. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The power of this punch was monstrous. This group of people who were only experts in the ancient realm were not opponents at all. All of their power would be exhausted after facing Long Fei's punch. Even with the strength of several hundred people, it was still not enough to face Long Fei. In a single exchange, it was completely destroyed. A single punch represented invincibility. Wherever it went, nothing could go wrong. Boom, 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 boom. One figure after another was sent flying. They wanted to take Long Fei's life, but Long Fei would naturally not show them any mercy either. The lives of several hundred people were instantly killed by Long Fei's fist. After doing all of this, a cold light flashed in Long Fei's eyes. Come on, come on. You want to use me to exchange for escaping the status of cannon fodder? What are you all stopping for? Wasn't awesome just now? If you want to kill me, then let's see who dies. Long Fei said coldly. Li Wuxin, who was watching from the side, was completely dumbfounded, and her eyes were wide open. He had already thought highly of Long Fei, but he hadn't thought that he would underestimate him. No, he probably hadn't understood Long Fei at all. He's actually this strong? An ancient almighty being is actually this powerful? Li Wuxin was moved. Looking at Long Fei, her eyes released a small star. Long Fei slightly raised his eyebrows. Looking at Li Wuxin, who was already shocked, he felt extremely pleased in his heart. Aren't he going to take you down this time? Long Fei was secretly pleased with himself. He felt that this time, he would definitely be able to win with a 90% certainty. However, after waiting for a long time, Li Wuxin's expression became more and more agitated. However, he did not call out boss. Therefore, the system did not reply him at all. F***CK. Still not enough. Can't we get to this point? Long Fei sighed, but there was nothing he could do. He could only think of something else to ask Li Wuxin. But now, with Long Fei's move, the entire battleship had become extremely quiet. After killing several hundred people with a single punch, they were thoroughly terrified. The expressions on their faces were already extremely terrified, and no one dared to take another step forward. How can he be this strong? Is he even human? Any one of us has a cultivation level that is higher than his, but we can't even take a single punch from him. Too terrifying. You can't go up. Those who go up will definitely die. The people of the cannon fodder camp retreated, facing Long Fei. They were already terrified. It was just like when he faced Tian Badeo's bloody violence. It made them not have the slightest bit of courage to step forward. At this moment, the ones with the ugliest expressions were Guqin and Tian Badeo. Originally, he wanted to flatter Guqin, but now, he was slapped in the face by Long Fei. You're just a dead cannon fodder. Who gave you the courage to kill someone in front of me? Tian Badeo took a step forward. His tiger body trembled as his jumping muscles burst with tyrannical power, as if he was a demon beast in human form. Long Fei squinted his eyes as he sneered. If I want to kill someone, do I even need to ask? I have never lacked courage. Why don't you try? Since they were going to fight. In that case, he might as well blast him to the end. No matter what Heavenly Emperor army, no matter what Tianyun city, if you dare to provoke me, I will still kill you. Even the undead legion of the divinity, Long Fei dared to destroy them all. What did a single Heavenly Emperor army count as? Bastard! How dare you disobey me, die for me? Tian Badeo flew into a rage. With a single leap, he raised his huge fist. Long Fei's eyes narrowed, and with a flip of his hand, he also threw out a punch. Level 8 Berserk. Long Fei shouted loudly. Boom! The light exploded and two absolute powers collided in the air. The entire warship shattered into pieces under the impact of this force. Young lord, let's go. Beside the zither, an old man jumped out from the void and took the zither away. As for the men from the cannon fodder battalion, they seized this opportunity to jump down from the warship. Li Wuxin was the same. Under the impact of this force, he was sent flying. Crack, crack, crack. Just as everyone's silhouettes landed, the entire warship also completely broke apart, turning into countless fragments, scattering into the air. However, the battle between the two still did not stop. The entire space had been distorted by the collision force, and waves of violent energy continued to collide with the space in front of Yishuan's eyes. A hint of regret hung on Li Wuxin's face. He wanted to charge forward several times, but this force was too violent. He was unable to charge in and was knocked down by this force. You must be all right. Li Wuxin clenched his fists tightly as he stared at the empty space in front of him. Not only him, Gu Qin and the others were the same. You dog, I don't believe that you're still not dead this time. You actually dared to compete with Tian Badeo in strength. Don't you know that the Tian clan is famous for being the arrogant warrior? Gu Qin ridiculed with a cold smile. Impossible, he won't die. Li Wuxin immediately retorted. He will not die. Huh. What a joke. All of you are trash. Just you wait. In less than 3 seconds, you will see Long Fei being beaten to the ground. The zither laughed heartily as it rubbed its fists, as if it had already taken revenge. Just as his voice fell, a miserable scream suddenly exploded in the air. Oh no, my arm doesn't want to kill me. Don't want to kill me. His voice was hoarse. His voice was hoarse. His voice was filled with endless despair, as if he was suffering from soul-piercing pain. Did you hear that? Long Fei is already at his limits, and Tian Ba will soon attack him from the sky. Hi, you dog. You dare to fight against me? You overestimate yourself. As the zither spoke, it turned to leave. The other members of the cannon fodder battalion all looked at the void. When they heard the begging sound, their first thought was the same as the Gu Qin. They all thought that Long Fei was begging for mercy. I knew it would end up like this. Let's quickly escape. Otherwise, when Tian Badeo returns, we won't be able to escape even if we wanted to. Haha. No matter what, we still have to thank him. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have had the chance to run away. Haha. Burn some paper for him today, next year. The men of the cannon fodder battalion were in high spirits. They wanted to take advantage of this space to escape. However, right at that moment, an explosion sounded from the center of the sky and cut off their path. Boom! The entire warship broke into pieces, and the figure in the sky also appeared. There were indeed some people screaming in pain, but it was not Long Fei at all, but rather Tian Badeo, whom they could not afford to lose in their hearts. At this moment, Tian Badeo had already been beaten into a pig head. His facial features were twisted together, and from afar, he looked like a sculpture without any facial features. What shocked them even more was that Tian Badeo's entire right arm had been completely crippled. Half of the bones in his arm were exposed, and his entire body was immediately stepped on by Long Fei on the head. How could this be? Tian Badeo lost. So powerful. So he's actually been pretending all this time. He's not ignorant and fearless. He's simply disdainful. Heavens, Tian Ba is able to tear apart us with his bare hands. and he is not Long Fei's match right now. That Long Fei, all of a sudden, the men of the cannon fodder battalion looked at each other in dismay. They had even forgotten to run away. As for Gu Qin, the moment the two figures were exposed, her face had already become ghastly pale. She turned around, intending to escape. "Stop, did I let you go? You want to leave after being so arrogant in front of me? Where did this good thing come from?" Long Fei's foot stomped onto the ground tyrannically. He looked towards the Gu Qin and said with killing intent, "Long Fei, I was wrong. Please forgive me this once. I swear, I will never go against you again." The zither said, "Wrong? Ha, sorry. If you just admit your mistakes, then what's the use of cultivating it?" Long Fei's eyes were filled with disdain. Spare? Non-existent. In the Tianyin city, he had almost forced Yuro to death. This was already a form of hatred, and it wouldn't stop until she died. "Long Fei, don't go too far. I've already admitted my wrongs. What else do you want? Don't forget, we are still in Tianyin city." Gu Qin clenched his teeth and said, "Too much. Ha. If this is too much, then you should have died 1,000,000 times over already." Long Fei said, disapproving, and then suddenly kicked down. Tian Ba's body directly landed beside Gu Qin. Dong! Gu Qin's face turned pale. If it wasn't for the guard supporting her, she might have already fainted. It was too bloody. Tian Badeo's entire body was severely injured. Even his bones had been shattered by the shock. Even his facial features were gone. Like a piece of dough, he collapsed onto the ground. "Long Fei, enough. My Tianyin city is not one you can offend. What's more, the Gu family's background is not something you can imagine. This old man would advise you to stop your injuries in time and not seek your own death." The guard beside Gu Qin said sinisterly, "Who do you think you are? Even your master can only beg for mercy in front of me, and you still dare to threaten me?" Long Fei glared, releasing a burst of killing intent. Suddenly, the old man's face froze and beads of cold sweat dripped from his forehead. "You!" The old man forced himself to speak. He could not believe that not only was Long Fei's battle power extraordinary, his soul force was so strong as well. With the power of the 4th level of the ancient era, he was actually able to be intimidated by someone at the 7th level of the ancient era. If you want to die, you can stand out. I'll grant you that wish." Long Fei didn't even give her the slightest of face. To still want Long Fei to give face after being schemed against? Impossible. The reason why Long Fei did not kill him was not because of pity. It was not fear. Instead, he wanted to get news of the Yuan Ba and the rest from Gu Qin. The old man was at a loss for words. Under the oppression of Long Fei's aura, he did not even have the courage to refute and directly went silent. "Gu Qin, where are my people now?" Long Fei did not beat around the bush and directly asked. Right. Long Fei, you must be here to save them." "Ah, that's good then. You better quickly let me go and kowtow and admit your wrongs. Perhaps I can give you a chance to see them once. Otherwise, I will make you regret it for the rest of your life." The fear on his face disappeared without a trace, as if he had grabbed on a Long Fei's scruples and started to do whatever he wanted. Hearing that, Long Fei's face turned cold as a bad feeling filled his heart. "So they're already in your hands?" Long Fei's voice was cold and filled with killing intent. Gu Qin, The zither was confused and instantly stupefied. Long Fei, calm down. I was just joking. I didn't catch them at all. They're still safe." "Right. Tian Badeo's elder brother has already gone to take action. You could go save them now." When the zither saw that the wind had turned, it hurriedly kicked the blame onto Tian Badeo. Tian Badeo wiggled wildly when he heard this. However, all the bones in his body were shattered. He was unable to say anything even if he wanted to. But Long Fei still did not say a single word. Icy cold, killing intent continuously emanated from his body, enveloping Gu Qin and the other two inside. "No matter who you are, from the moment you set your eyes on my woman, everything has been decided. We must die," Long Fei said indifferently, as the gigantic killing weapon slowly appeared in his hand. Whiz! At this moment, the scarlet light on the killing weapon shot into the sky, a cold light exploding. Just like the idea in Long Fei's heart right now. There was only one word. Kill. Swish. With a flip of his hand, Long Fei chopped off Tian Ba's head with his long blade. Tian Badeo didn't even have a chance to struggle before he completely lost his life. Ding! Congratulations, player Ling Fei, for killing Tian Badeo. Obtained 40,000 experience, 40,000 holy source points, 1 striking value. Ding! Congratulations to the players for obtaining the power of the warrior. Ding! Congratulations to the players for obtaining the blood of the warrior. Ding! Congratulations, player, for obtaining Berserk Warrior's heart. The system exploded continuously, but Long Fei was in no mood to care. In his heart, he only wanted to erase the zither before him. Otherwise, the hostility in his heart would never be quenched. Gu Qin was already scared silly by Long Fei, and both of his legs were trembling. Soon after, a fishy stench emanated from him. He was scared shitless. Long Fei, don't kill me. I swear I will never go against you again. Also, killing me would not benefit you at all. My aunt is the imperial concubine. If you kill me, you will offend the Sky Empire. At that time, there will be no place for you in the entire world. Let me go. Please let me go. The zither kept begging for mercy, not wanting any more dignity. In the face of life and death, dignity was nothing. Sky Empire? Haha. So what if it's the Sky Empire? Today you must die. No one can help you. Long Fei's voice dejectedly fell. Long Fei's voice dejectedly fell. He was like a god of death, meticulous and without a trace of emotion. The reason for his glance was because the Grim Reaper looked back. The movement of a saber light was equivalent to harvesting the harvest of death. No, Long Fei, you absolutely cannot be like this. You have already killed Tian Ba, but the Tian clan is the Berserker warrior clan. Their blood vein are linked, so if you kill him, his brother will definitely come over soon. Only I can save you. If you kill me, there's no hope at all. The zither kept talking, calling out its uses. But all these, to Long Fei, were just rubbish. Long Fei never asked about background when he killed people. Could the Kuang warrior S be more powerful than the Xin nationality? The chattering is so king annoying. Your father's principle is, if you can do it, don't beat around the bush. Just like what you said, Lousy can let you go. Long Fei sneered. He took 1,000 steps, and the big killing tool continued with its previous mission. With one strike, it directly split the Gu Qin from the middle. Next, it's your turn. Long Fei's eyes turned, and without hesitation, he slashed his blade over. But the old man beside Gu Qin was at least at the 7th level of the super great complete realm, so he was forced to retreat the moment Long Fei made his move. Kid, just you wait. You killed young Master Qin, and even killed the people of the Tian clan. Even if the Heavenly Emperor comes, he won't be able to save you. The old man said as he turned around to flee. Want to leave? If you have the guts, just say so. If you don't have the guts, then fight. Hand of Chaos. Come back here. Long Fei's eyes darkened as he instantly executed Hand of Chaos. Boom! A pair of large hands reached into the void, catching the fleeing old man in front of them. At this moment, he, who had already escaped, had a smile plastered on his face. When she opened her eyes, she saw a pair of cold eyes from Long Fei. No, that's impossible. The old man crazily shouted as he struggled with all his might. Immobilize. Inscription power. Murderous weapon, slash. Long Fei used all of his strength in an instant, not giving the old man the chance to struggle. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the zither. You have received 1 million experience, 10,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding! Congratulations to the player for obtaining the Heavenly Phoenix Jade Pendant. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing the Gu family's internal guard. You have obtained 380,000 experience points, 30,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. whoosh, panted heavily as he killed 3 people. This directly caused Long Fei's holy source to be exhausted. Whether it was the body, securing technique, or the power of inscription, both consumed a great deal of energy. No, I'm too weak right now. I have to think of a way to quickly retreat. Otherwise, if what the Guqin said is true, then I'm afraid that we will meet an even stronger enemy. Long Fei thought. Right now, in Tianyin City, there were strong enemies everywhere. Especially after he killed Tianba and Guqin, it made the battle between him, Guxing, and some of the other Berserker warrior tribes even more tenacious. If his opponent had some sort of special method that allowed him to sense everything that was happening here, then it would most likely provoke a fierce battle. Thinking about it, Long Fei turned around. Thoughtless, let's go. Long Fei said indifferently. Li Wuxin was still in shock. Long Fei's power had once again changed his view of the world. For the first time, he felt admiration for Long Fei. You're really awesome, Li Wuxin said with a hint of worship in his voice. Long Fei was overjoyed as he grinned. He knew that he was one step closer to capturing Li Wuxin. As for the men from the cannon fodder camp, Long Fei could not be bothered with them. He didn't even have the interest to kill them. He didn't have enough experience. In fact, he hadn't even received a system prompt when he killed hundreds of players. In other words, with the increase of Long Fei's level, these existences comparable to his cultivation level would no longer be able to give him any experience. However, just at this moment, 2 killing intents broke through the air and directly descended on them. Long Fei's footsteps paused, and his eyes sunk. He came so fast. Long Fei was extremely depressed. The worst situation had finally happened. Long Fei, let me do it this time. I'll block them for a while, quickly leave. Li Wuxin said firmly. Impossible. Long Fei, have never let go of my brother's habit. Long Fei shook his head and said. At the same time, a look of determination appeared in his eyes. At most, he would just go all out, and even if he used the god of heaven madman, he wouldn't abandon Li Wuxin. Long Fei, you can't leave. You were the one who killed him. If you leave, what will we do? Suddenly, right at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded from within the cannon fodder camp. Long Fei was startled as he looked at the other party with an extremely ice-cold gaze. What did you say? Long Fei asked. I said you can't just leave like this. Now that the entire space has been sealed off by killing intent, it's obvious that it's coming for you. You were the one who killed the person, so you absolutely cannot leave. Otherwise, how are we going to account for it when the time comes? The man gritted his teeth as he spoke, but after he finished, he realized it was silent behind him. No one dared to refute him. Is everyone right? From start to finish, we never thought about escaping, as all of this was done by Long Fei himself. Now that he killed someone and wanted to leave, how could he do that? Why should we bear the consequences if he kills them? The man continued, trying to stir up the crowd. Sure enough, after his voice fell, a few voices from the crowd appeared. That's right, Long Fei. Since you're so powerful, you should continue fighting. We are all ordinary people. We still need to live. I beg of you, don't implicate us. All sorts of different voices appeared one after another. Their arguments were all different, but their meanings were the same. That is, they want to live. In other words, Long Fei had to die. Huh, Long Fei sneered. Humans were shameless, and they were unrivaled in the world. For these people who had buried their faces in the ground and had no dignity left, they would not cherish even if they were given a chance to live. You bunch of ungrateful people. If not for Long Fei, how could you have your freedom now? Long Fei gave you all a free body and gave you all a chance to live. Not only are you not grateful, you instead want Long Fei to die right now. You guys are worse than pigs and dogs. Li Wuxin was flustered and exasperated as he cursed loudly. Li Wuxin, what are you pretending to be a good person for? That's right, Long Fei, you can't leave anyways. Since you can fight like this, then let's have another fight. Someone in the crowd continued to speak. As for Long Fei, there was no longer any expression on his face. In the next moment, it transformed into a vicious and decisive strike. That was because, as of this moment, killing intent had reached him. My son. The white of the fish gradually emerged, and the dawn approached. The white of the fish gradually emerged, and the dawn approached. This sound was filled with endless sorrow and grief. The heaven and earth seemed to be reversed, and the sky actually began to darken rapidly. Darkness came, darkness came. Hoo-hoo! It was as if his killing intent was mixed into the darkness, shuttling back and forth between the darkness. It's over. It's the Tianyun City's City Lord. This is his ace attack, the curtain of the dark sky. This time it's really over. Long Fei killed his son. Tianyun City Lord will definitely kill crazily. This is his sole son from the 3 bloodlines. Hurry up and retreat, or else we won't even know how he died. The Tianyun City Lord's power was monstrous, even within the Sky Empire. He was ranked highly. His name was infamous, and once he showed his power, they were immediately scared out of their wits. Long Fei's heart also tensed up. However, this emotion only lasted for a moment before vanishing in the blink of an eye. Replacing it was a look of ecstasy. Too strong, too strong. This kind of strength was not only aimed at the powerful aura, but also at the golden lights that broke through the darkness one after another. Too dazzling. Last time in Tianyun City, Gu Xingdao did not make a move and did not expose the boss's light. This time, because of the death of his zither, it had revealed the boss stats. Furthermore, it was extremely powerful, so powerful that Long Fei was dazzled by the light. I didn't expect it to be a big boss. Long Fei laughed. His smile was filled with anticipation, and he couldn't even hold back his saliva. You still have the mood to smile. Li Wu Yi was extremely anxious, thinking about how to let Long Fei escape. But Long Fei seemed to have gone dumb and did not make a move. Long Fei glanced at Li Wuxin and said, "You can just retreat to the side later. Just leave him to me." If Long Fei did not explain, he could not tell him that killing the boss was his lifelong dream, right? Thus, he did not waste any more time on nonsense. This won't do. With your current condition, you aren't suitable for battle at all. Hurry up and leave. Li Wuxin shook his head and rejected Long Fei's suggestion. Don't worry, he's just a Tianyun City Lord. He's done for. Long Fei said in disdain. Long Fei showed a relaxed and casual expression as he looked towards the sky and waited quietly. The men from the cannon fodder battalion had already scattered and fled in all directions. However, just as their figures touched the void, they were immediately reflected back. It was as if this place had been sealed off, and there was no way out. The space has already been sealed. Long Fei, it's all Long Fei's fault. If not for him, we would have long since left our status as cannon fodder battalions. When the Tianyun City Lord comes, we will immediately surrender. Maybe the Tianyun City Lord will give us a chance to live. There is no hope for them to escape, as all of their faces were filled with anxiety, and they looked at Long Fei with ill intent. They believed that Long Fei killing Guqin was the reason for the disaster today. If not for Long Fei, he would have fought with all his might. They were still cannon fodder that had been stored on the warship, like cattle waiting to be slaughtered. With regards to these voices, Long Fei completely ignored them. In front of the boss, everything was fake. It was like a lobster right in front of one's face. Who would care about a few shrimps whispering disgusting words into one's ear? Long Fei did not care, but Li Wuxin could no longer tolerate it. You all are really too shameless. If not for Long Fei, where would you be right now? If not for Long Fei, what kind of fate would await you too? Now, if you all don't say that you are united, you will all advance and retreat together, and you will all be thinking of selling out Long Fei. You are all scum. Li Wuxin said angrily. With every word he said, his body trembled. From the looks of it, his rage had already reached its peak. The group of men from the cannon fodder battalion were so embarrassed that their faces turned red. Even if they did something shameless, they would definitely not want to be exposed. What's more, they were already on the verge of death, so they wouldn't care. Li Wuxin, what are you pretending to be a good person for? Go and die if you dare. You go and say that you killed them. You go and take responsibility for everything. Some people said that they no longer had any sense of shame. In order to survive, they had already decided not to humiliate themselves. Li Wuxin was surprised for a moment, then immediately revealed a joyous look in his eyes. Right, I can take all the responsibility on myself. This way, Long Fei will no longer have to die. When Long Fei, who was just about to go all out, heard this sentence, he was instantly rendered speechless. Is this really the inheritance of the extermination emperor? Shouldn't you look down on us and use a single move to destroy us? So kind. Are you serious? Long Fei looked at Li Wuxin. He had an illusion that something was wrong with the system. Right at this moment, a black curtain of light completely descended. It was as if it covered the void of primal chaos, and darkness engulfed everything. My son. Who was it? Who killed my son? In the endless darkness, a voice exploded. Shortly after, in the darkness, a purple robe appeared and whistled by. Shwa shwa shwa. The purple light was like a blade, cutting through the urgency in everyone's hearts. Everyone's eyes were fixated on this purple color. Long Fei was calm, and his eyes flashed with a bright light. He was different from other people. With the system around, all he could see was golden light. Too dazzling than the previous undead lord. It's you. Gu Xingdao landed beside the corpse of the Guqin, which had already turned into a pile of mud. The rage in his eyes was about to erupt. When he saw Long Fei again, his killing intent rose to its highest point. Yes, that's me. As I said before, this meeting is the time for him to repay his sins. Long Fei said casually, "Aw, little bastard, you killed my son, yet you still dare to be so arrogant. If I don't tear your body into 10,000 pieces today, Gu Xingdao, will simply commit suicide." The purple mist around Gu Xingdao rose and gradually became denser. Even the golden light emitted by the boss was overshadowed by it. It was extremely terrifying. A hint of caution flashed past Long Fei's eyes as well. The boss was very strong, especially now that he had a tendency to mutate. He's so strong, yet he wants to mutate. If he were to break through to the supreme great complete realm, that would be King awesome. Long Fei's eyes flashed and said, "There's no need for that. You won't have a chance, because I will personally kill you." Long Fei said as the idea moved. Immortal body, absolute super armor, activate. Facing such a strong boss, Long Fei did not have much time to hesitate, and directly chose his strongest move. Under normal circumstances, Long Fei would not have a second choice when facing the boss. There was no reason to do it. No matter the cost, it was going to explode. At this moment, Gu Xingdao's body had also completely changed. The rich purple color gradually changed, and he was now dressed in black. Under the black robe, the aura on Gu Xingdao became even more tyrannical. It was as though every breath brought with it the power to kill. "Brat, you are too arrogant. Even if the entire unknown region turns upside down today, this old man will still kill you." The black-clothed ancient cultivator who was in the form of a demon king coldly spoke. Black filled the air, and his killing intent surged recklessly. Black filled the air, and his killing intent surged recklessly. Under the void, there was no longer a second color. Even the purple color on Gu Xingdao's body had disappeared and turned black. The entire space was like a mass of black gas that was spreading, surging violently. So terrifying. Is this hell on earth? To actually be able to reverse it, even in the sky. No, I feel like I'm going to die. I can't even raise my cultivation, and my strength has already been released by the seal. In this kind of situation, who else could be a match for Tianyun City's master? It's all Long Fei's fault. Darn Long Fei. I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. In the cannon fodder camp, a huge amount of resentment was released. All of them were complaining about Long Fei's words. They were afraid of death, so everything was oriented in the direction of the possibility of survival. They did not want to miss this chance. At this time, there was still a feeling of hope hoping that Long Fei would be killed by the ancient Tao as soon as possible. That way, no one would make things difficult for them anymore. Whiz! The black gas engulfed the area and turned into a fist in the endless darkness. Boom! Asterisk, this punch seemed to have come from nowhere as it landed on Long Fei's abdomen. Puff! Long Fei's body instantly lost control and flew out. Boom! 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 After smashing apart who knows how many towering ancient trees in a row, Long Fei's figure finally stopped. Ha ha ha! With just this bit of ability, you still want to kill me? In this darkness, I am the only ruler of the world. Even the Lord of the Primal Chaos cannot interfere. Long Fei, do you think you can survive without the protection of the Lord of Primal Chaos? If you kill my son, even if the Lord of Chaos comes, he won't be able to save you. In the darkness, the voice of the Tianyun City Lord rumbled in his ears like thunder. Puff puff. Long Fei spat out another mouthful of blood, the sweet taste still constantly appearing in his throat. Too strong. He had already reached the peak of the ancient Tao, the degree of peak of perfection. Even Undead Lord cannot compare to it. Furthermore, after the mutation, it was impossible to estimate how powerful the other party actually was. But what was certain was that if Long Fei had not activated his immortal's physique in advance, his opponent's punch would have shattered his flesh. I can't be passive. I have to take the initiative. Long Fei lowered his head and was about to release a skill. But right at this moment, Long Fei still hadn't spoke. Another black shadow descended, heavily smashing Long Fei out. You want to use your power, right? Ha. You think I don't know your tricks? I have to say, the method you used to kill that old thing from the Zhao family really made me greedy. But sadly, do you think that no one knows about your power? The people from the divine space are currently in my city lord's mansion. Aren't you relying on your pubes' power? Then let this old man destroy your pubes. Let's see how you will continue to use this power. The black-robed ancient path let out a berserk howl, and an earth-shattering change in its aura occurred. And at this time, Long Fei had also fallen into a state of madness. He didn't have time to activate his Empyrean god insanity. He was interrupted by Gu Xingdao's crazy attacks, again and again and again. Minutes and seconds passed. In the midst of the black aura, there was only the sound of constant bombardment. Other sounds could not be heard at all. Long Fei, I'm afraid he's already been beaten to death. Definitely, this kind of power, who can endure it? Tianyun City Lord is indeed worthy of being a veteran expert. He's too awesome. Fortunately, their power isn't directed at us. Otherwise, they would have died long ago. For 3 minutes, the entire dark space was filled with the sound of collisions. Li Wuxin was burning with anxiety, but there was nothing he could do. In this dark space, he couldn't even raise his cultivation. Long Fei, don't die. If you can endure this tribulation, you will be my boss from now on. Li Wuxin roared, encouraging Long Fei. At this moment, he felt an indescribable sense of loss, as if someone was about to lose their life. This feeling of loss made him feel extreme pain. What he did not know was that at this time, Long Fei had indeed already fallen into an abnormally painful state. Even if it was an immortal body, it was still an absolute body. After receiving so many attacks, his body was already on the verge of collapse. This was because absolute domination prevented physical attacks. But other than the brutality of one punch, there was also the unparalleled power of the arcane skill hidden in the dark. That was the reason for the damage. Ding! Absolute Super Armor has received the highest amount of damage. It will automatically release Berserk power the next time it is attacked. Ding! Host body is too weak. You won't be able to withstand another attack. Ding! As host, would you like to release it? At this moment, the system kept beeping out notifications. Berserk energy was the energy attribute of the absolute body. It absorbed all the isolated injuries and repelled them. Furthermore, the more severe the damage, the more explosive the power would be. Release, Long Fei said firmly. At this moment, he had no other choice. Furthermore, up till now, Long Fei's heart was already filled with boundless rage. It was the first time in history that he had been completely suppressed. Even though he had a killing technique, he could not release it. This feeling was like kicking and choking. At this moment, the darkness dissipated and a black curtain, as if receding from the world, finally scattered the light from the sky. And everything had been exposed. Hiss! Instantly, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Broken walls and ruins, broken mountains and shattered rocks. It was as if the world had experienced a natural disaster, and all existence was no longer complete. And in the distance, Long Fei himself was in an even more miserable state. Dead. He really is dead. If you're injured like this and still don't die, then I'll eat shit in front of you. I hope that you can calm the anger of the Tianyuan city lord. Everyone whispered to each other, completely ignoring Long Fei. In their eyes, it was impossible for them to survive in this kind of state. Only Li Wuxin was rushing forward like a madman. Impossible. It won't die. It definitely won't die. You said you wanted to be my boss. How can you just die like that? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Li Wuxin madly dashed over. However, when they got closer, they felt that they were in a bad mood. With a plop, he kneeled before Zhang Xian. The Long Fei in front of him had long since lost his human form and was completely smashed into a human-shaped mass of flesh. His flesh and blood were all intertwined together, and even his bones could be seen with the naked eye. This fool. He still dares to maintain Long Fei's relationship at this time. He is truly a self-torturer. This is perfect. With someone attracting the attention of the Tianyuan city lord, we will be even safer. Ha ha. This time we can finally avoid danger. The men of the cannon fodder battalion completely relaxed. Looking at the black-robed Gu Xingdao, they buried their heads deep into their bones. As expected, Gu Xingdao originally thought that Long Fei had died and was preparing to leave as well. But after seeing Li Wuxin fly over, the baleful aura appeared once again. Very good. Since there are still people related to you, then let's go and die. Rumble, rumble, rumble. With a single step, Gu Xingdao traveled 3,000 meters and directly appeared in the air above Long Fei. Then, he threw out a punch. However, just as the fist was about to land on Li Wuxin, a sudden change occurred. Long Fei, who had already turned into a lump of flesh and blood, instantly underwent a transformation. And with a speed that could be seen with the naked eye, he recovered his body. Gu Xingdao, your father has been waiting a long time for this punch of yours. I've been waiting for you for a long time. I've been waiting for you for a long time. It was just 5 simple words, but they became a topic of discussion in this space. Especially in this kind of situation, everyone already thought that Long Fei was dead. And yet, this berserk voice appeared. He's still not dead? Impossible, impossible. What did I go through? Who the hell is he? Heavens, he didn't die. The exclamations continued without end. However, the culprit who was shocked by the crime was still Gu Xing. Gu Xingdao's expression instantly became dark and cold as his killing intent exploded out of him in the blink of an eye. The stronger his killing intent was, the more powerful the punch would be. But what he did not know was that this was the outcome Long Fei was waiting for. Level +1 use. Berserk power activate. Long Fei's voice was clear and swift without the slightest hesitation. Long Fei knew that once he erupted, he had to link them together and take them all away. Otherwise, even if he was a heavenly god maniac, if he couldn't kill Gu Xingdao with a single slash, he could cause his dark curtain to descend once again and then suffer the pain once more. Therefore, Long Fei had been waiting. He was waiting for this moment, for Gu Xingdao to make a move again and use his trump card. Boom! As Long Fei's voice fell, all of the injuries on his body abruptly recovered, without the slightest hint of injury. Not only that, the aura emanating from his body had also become a bit stronger. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. The current level is Ancient Era's Almighty Level 5. Experience 0/300,000 0.000-inch, Long Fei leveled up one more level, although Long Fei was also extremely reluctant to do so. However, when it was broken, it would be broken. The trump card was used to slap the face and kill the boss. Long Fei was not a miser. As long as he was still alive, he would have everything. This was because he had the system. Bastard, did you have a good beating? I said that I will kill you, but today I will definitely kill you. Long Fei held onto his killing weapon, the coldness in his eyes raging. The coquettish actions of Guxing Dao just now made Long Fei feel abnormally sullen in his heart. Basically, he didn't have any strength to fight back. Unhappy, extreme displeasure. Therefore, at this moment, Long Fei did not hesitate to use any means. There was only one thought in his mind, and that was to explode out the ancient path. At this moment, Guxing Dao's fist finally landed. Brat, it seems that your power is quite special. Since that's the case, I'll break you apart once again. I'll have to see whether you die or not. Guxing stood in the air. He gathered the strength in his hand and was about to attack again. However, his movements had only just begun, and he had already stopped. Because his previous punch, the moment it neared Long Fei, immediately stopped. Do you still want to fight? It's too late. Old thing, today, I'll let you have a taste of what is called Berserk Power. Berserk Power, release it, Long Fei said again. At this moment, Long Fei was already going a little crazy. What happened just now was too much of a pain, so he could only release it like crazy. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. An equally domineering force was released from Long Fei's body. This power was almost equivalent to the sum of the powers he had endured. In an instant, it filled the entire area. No, that's impossible. Gu Xingdao's expression suddenly changed, becoming completely devoid of blood. He was too familiar with this kind of power. It was his own power. However, this level of power far exceeded his own. Not to mention defending against it. Even if he faced it, he wouldn't dare to do so on his path to the ancient Tao. No, that's not possible. This is the power of my heavenly emperor technique. How could you possibly know how to use it? Gu Xingdao could not believe his eyes as he crazily retreated. But because he was fast, his berserk energy was even faster. In just a split second, it surged forward, completely submerging Gu Xingdao's figure within it. In an instant, a huge rumbling sound directly sank the earth, as if an abyss was being created. Soon after, the rumbling sounds dissipated, and a deep pit about 3,000 feet deep appeared before everyone. Silence, a deathly silence. No one dared to speak, especially those who had opened their mouths to obstruct Long Fei and were ungrateful. Their intestines had already turned green from regret. All of their eyes were filled with panic, afraid that Long Fei would take revenge. Long Fei's line of sight was still fixated at the bottom of the abyss. He knew that Gu Xingdao wasn't dead yet. Up until now, the system had yet to reveal any signs of death. This also meant that the ancient Tao of nature wasn't dead at all. It really is a big boss. Incredible. It seems like this time, we'll definitely get something out of it. As Long Fei thought to himself, he immediately used his deadly weapon. God of Heaven, Madman, activate. Ding. God Berserk has locked onto us. The system appeared. It was also at this moment that from the bottom of the deep pit that was thousands of feet deep, streams of blood-red light shot out. 1, 2, 3, 10 million. In just a few breaths, the entire world was dyed with blood. The entire space had turned blood red. Ha ha ha. Boy, I really want to thank you. I was lucky enough to break through to the top level of the Heavenly Emperor technique. Kid, let's see who will kill who this time. Ha ha. Laughter came out from within it. It carried an unspeakable arrogance as it spread throughout the world. At this time, Long Fei was also stunned. Immediately after, a wisp of a smile appeared on his face. The ancient path had become stronger. This meant that the boss's level had risen again. Haha, upgraded. Very good, old bastard. I would really like to say that you really have endless potential. You have godly assistance in this matter. At least this time, I have not wasted so many cards in vain. God of heaven, madman. Kill. Long Fei also laughed crazily. Now that he had leveled up, the killing powers of the God of Heaven fanatics would level up as well. In other words, the current Long Fei was using Heavenly God Frenzy, so long as he did not encounter Powerhouse, who had a cultivation level above super perfection, he could kill them instantly. Was not even the least bit afraid when it came to the current 2 degrees of mutation in the ancient elemental Tao. Boom! As the blade fell, the bloody light that filled the sky was directly split by Long Fei from the middle. It was as though the sky was being separated from the world. It was incomparably domineering. Whiz. At this moment, Gu Xingdao had also rushed out of the abyss. His black clothes had also disappeared, turning into red clothes. Purple clothes, black clothes, red clothes. 3 changes in a row. At this moment, he was in an extremely strong state. The corner of his mouth flashed with disdain. Heh, not bad. You have some skill, but you're actually able to cut apart my blood-colored sky curtain. But even so, what can you do about it? If you want to stay safe and sound, you will definitely die. I hope you can understand this logic. As soon as he finished speaking, Gu Xingdao moved his red clothes and his robes made a loud noise. In an instant, the veins on his forehead bulged as he brazenly attacked. The red dress moved, and the sky condensed once again. The red dress moved, and the sky condensed once again. Just like Long Fei's first slash, a white slash. Seeing this scene, even Long Fei's heart shivered. Impossible, his current aura is still at the supreme great complete realm. He has never broken through. It's definitely impossible for him to resist my strength. Long Fei's heart sank. Did not believe that Gu Xingdao was able to break the power of the system. Thinking about it, Long Fei moved his hand, second blade chop. Long Fei bellowed. The great killing weapon in his hand slashed horizontally across the sky, and another blade slashed out. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The blood screen was sliced open again. Not only that, at this moment, Gu Xingdao's aura also weakened slightly. Ha ha! I thought you weren't going to die. So that's all it is. Long Fei laughed out loud. Brat, if you continue, I don't believe that your strength won't run out. Gu Xingdao let out a loud roar as his entire body turned blood red. He looked like a demon king. You're right, if you don't die, then this blade of mine will never be finished. Long Fei replied casually. Next, the third slash. Ruiyuwumble. With this slash, the damage to his strength increased again. Long Fei felt that this power was something that even the undead Lord S could kill with a single slash. Boom! Asterisk, the blood-red color of the entire world was directly shattered by this strike. Even Gu Xingdao himself was sent flying backwards. At the same time, blood veins appeared on his body. 300 million. Boy, I will kill you. I do not believe that you can still use such a violent power. Gu Xingdao was infuriated. Right now, his strength after his mutation had been dispersed by Long Fei's 3 slashes. He was already injured. Are you hurt? However, you are right. This is a knife that I can cut. Long Fei's eyes flashed. At the same time, he heaved a sigh of relief. As long as Gu Xingdao was injured, it proved that the rules of the system were unbreakable. In other words, under the power of the Heavenly God fanatics, Gu Xingdao would undoubtedly die as well. There was no second result. After slashing 3 times, Long Fei had no intention to stop. 300 million was a lot of blood. Even with a saber and a saber, the effect couldn't be seen with the naked eye. Gu Xingdao simply couldn't feel the pain at all. Thinking about how Gu Xingdao had blown up violently just now, Long Fei was immediately enraged in his heart. Therefore, Long Fei wanted to beat him up at all costs. It was impossible to not take revenge. Avenge every night. If I can kill you, I definitely can't let you get injured. To be able to make you feel so much pain that you wish you were dead, I definitely won't let you die so easily. These 3 cuts did not disappoint Long Fei and all landed on Gu Xingdao's body. causing Gu Xingdao's blood to flow down slowly at a speed visible to the naked eye. One slash was more vicious than another. After 3 slashes, his HP fell to 120 million. The first slash cost 50 million, the second slash cost 60 million, and the third slash cost 70 million. At this moment, Gu Xingdao's aura had completely disappeared without a trace. He thought that after his cultivation technique broke through, he would be able to roam unhindered in the world. But as soon as he came out, he was immediately ruthlessly slashed by Long Fei. At this moment, he could already feel the threat of death. He was scared. He was really scared. Long Fei's power did not seem to have an end point. The damage of the saber was even greater than that of the saber. Long Fei, this old man advises you to stop at once. Since you allowed me to break through, I can let this matter slide. This old man can even pave the way for you so that you will know more about the strength of the participants in the qualification battles. Gu Xingdao said in a deep voice. He admitted defeat, but Long Fei had a cold smile on his face. You admitted defeat? Haha, Gu Xing said. Aren't you awesome? I killed your son. Long Fei ridiculed. As long as I'm alive, I can have as many sons as I want. This old one's sister is the Zhun Fei of the Heavenly Empire. If you cooperate with this old man, I guarantee that you will smoothly obtain the final victory of the God of Boundary. Gu Xingdao said even though he was extremely depressed. But he had to say it like this. It was completely like begging for forgiveness in front of Long Fei, showing off his worth in exchange for a chance to live. The corner of Long Fei's mouth moved and let out a cold laugh, but he did not immediately state his stance. At this moment, on the ground, the men of the Cannon Fodder Battalion and Li Wuxin were completely dumbfounded. The reversal in front of them had completely exceeded their expectations. Long Fei, Li Wuxin muttered to himself. His eyes were filled with boundless excitement as he clenched his fists tightly. Those men of the Cannon Fodder Battalion had long gone pale. It was too shocking, too dazzling. However, they could not get excited at all. The stronger Long Fei got, the more bitter they felt in their hearts. What should I do? How could he be so strong? It's over. It's all because of you. If you didn't trick us just now, we wouldn't have attacked Long Fei at all. It's all your fault, you cowardly, ungrateful scum. You don't know how to be grateful, and you still want to bewitch us. I'll kill you. Immediately, the entire Cannon Fodder Battalion fell into chaos. The few people who had initially wanted to attack Long Fei verbally became the target of tens of thousands of people and started a curse. Shut up. Suddenly, Long Fei's voice came from the sky. In an instant, no other sound could be heard. This was because strength was everything. Long Fei completely had the power to instantly kill them. If he told them to shut up, they wouldn't dare to say anything. Long Fei's cold gaze swept across everyone present. With a disdainful smile, he looked at Gu Xingdao once again and said, All right, you just said that we will cooperate, but at least let me see your sincerity. What do you think? Long Fei sneered. That's easy. Gu Xingdao lowered his head to take a look, and then his killing intent appeared once more. Swish! In the next moment, a red light whizzed past and directly turned into a bloody net that spread out. Oh no! Long Fei, don't kill me. Hurry up and make him stop. We have no intention of becoming your enemy. We just want to live. Countless of pleas burst out, but Long Fei remained unmoved. Long Fei had given these people a chance before, but they didn't care about it themselves. Such a person's death was not worth lamenting. The begging continued, but became weaker and weaker. In the end, they were all annihilated by the power of the ancient path. The system still did not drop anything. This was because they were too weak, so weak that even their experience was negligible. A moment later, Gu Xingdao once again appeared in front of Long Fei and said, Are you satisfied now? Gu Xingdao said in a deep voice. Ha ha, satisfied, very satisfied. But I reject what you said before. Long Fei laughed proudly. I refuse. The 3 large words were nowhere to be seen, causing Gu Xingdao's expression to instantly become frantic. Kid, are you messing with me? The killing intent on Gu Xingdao surged, and his face turned red. Yes, you're right. I'm just playing with you. What can you do? However, you're only half right. Not only will I mess with you, I will also kill you. Big boss, go ahead and attack. Long Fei's eyes darkened. The seventh blade of the god of heaven berserkers slashed down from the sky. The seventh saber strike descended once again. The seventh saber strike descended once again. Explode. Long Fei's eyes turned cold, and he slashed his blade downwards. Up until now, the battle had exhausted all means available to it. Finally, it was time to end it. Long Fei made a rough calculation. After this blade strike, even if Gu Xing didn't die, at most, he would only have 30 million blood left, and it would be impossible for him to turn the situation around. No, Long Fei, don't kill me. I just broke through and haven't been bestowed the throne yet. Don't kill me. I beg you, don't kill me. Gu Xingdao begged with a face full of unwillingness. I beg of you, Long Fei, Master Long, please don't kill me. I finally reached where I am today with great difficulty. Let me enjoy this honor. I can follow you in the future. I am your subordinate. With a person like me, I accept the position of divine body. After I break through that realm, you'll be able to walk unhindered in this unknown land. And those enemies of yours in the divine space, I can kill them all. The ancient path had changed into a red one. A purple, black, and red cross had appeared. At this moment, his aura was in chaos. Facing Long Fei, he had already completely lost all courage to fight. No, it should be said that the current him didn't even have the qualifications to fight Long Fei. He was completely terrified. In the face of death, all his arrogance had disappeared without a trace. He could only beg for forgiveness and ask for the last chance of survival. It's not a bad condition, but it's a pity that I don't agree to it. Did you have a good fight just now? Are you done? Are you trying to run away with your pants up? Where did such a good thing come from? What about the heavenly jewel master? If you want to be respected in front of me, you can't even dream about it. As Long Fei spoke, his heart was also filled with lingering fear. Inwardly, he thought that it was fortunate that he had acted decisively just now and didn't give Gu Xingdao the chance to do so. Initially, Gu Xingdao was still puzzled over why he was still heavily injured by the God of Heaven. It could be understood now that there was another unique existence above the super great complete realm. It is called Honorable Seat. However, this power must be bestowed by the heavens. It was like a title. However, this title was bestowed upon him by the heavens. The only way to obtain power of that level was to bear the bestowal of the heavens and obtain a position of honor. If I let you obtain the throne, how would I kill you? They have to die. Long Fei thought, and at that moment, God of Heaven's madman's seventh blade fell. The blade attack was like the world was being turned upside down. The blade light directly submerged Gu Xingdao within it. Even though Gu Xingdao had channeled his energy and forcefully transformed it into purple clothes, it was still useless. No, Long Fei, you will regret killing me. If you kill me, you will become enemies with the entire Sky Empire. The Celestial Emperor is the sovereign of the entire Arceus region. If you dare to kill me, you will definitely die a miserable death. Gu Xingdao said with difficulty. Since begging had been useless before, there was only another way, and that was to threaten. But the thing that Long Fei was least afraid of was threats. Threatening me? Who do you care? You're just a boss. How could I be threatened by you? Long Fei said coldly, a killing intent erupting from his heart. Bosses were meant to drop. There was no such thing as a boss. He slashed out once again. This was the 8th move of the God of Heaven Berserkers. The 7th slash was able to produce over 80 million blood, and this slash was probably worth nearly 90 million. Under this kind of strength, no matter how powerful the ancient Tao was, it wouldn't be able to withstand it. Rumble, rumble, rumble. As he waved his blade, the entire sky began to twist and distort. The vast blade radiance seemed to emit killing intent from the heavens as it came crashing down. Too strong, Long Fei. You're so strong. Why are you helping me? Li Wuxin was no longer able to speak to himself. Looking at the descending saber strike, he was so astonished that he could no longer speak. At the same time, he was also thinking about what Long Fei had said before. For a moment, he hesitated, not daring to make a decision. And Long Fei at this time had also fallen into a state of waiting. However, the system seemed to be stuck. No sound could be heard. No way, he's not dead yet. Long Fei was stunned. This was already the 8th slash. Judging by the difference in the amount of blood left, as well as the power of an Empyrean God Berserker, Gu Xingdao would definitely be as dead as he was ever going to be. Haha, Long Fei, I am not dead. The power bestowed by the heavens has finally arrived. You didn't think that when I talked so much just now, I was only stalling for time. Now, the power bestowed by the heavens has finally descended. When I absorb it, I will have a position bestowed by the heavens. When that time comes, I will make you a prisoner. Every day, I will make you suffer a fate worse than death. At this moment, within the black and red light that had been submerged by the blade light, Gu Xingdao's voice exploded once again. Long Fei looked over, and his heart froze. At this moment, Gu Xingdao was already a dying man. His blood had long since been drained, but his soul was still enveloped by an indescribable power. Even his physical body was constantly recovering under this kind of power. Under this kind of power, the entire world became silent, as if all living things bowed down and respected it. Power of heaven, your cultivation? Long Fei took 2 steps back and hesitated. This kind of strength was too strange. Even Long Fei felt that it was a power that he had never faced before, one that seemed to be everywhere, but also beyond perception. Brat, make your move. Otherwise, once he inherits this power, you won't even be a match for him. Just as Long Fei was hesitating, Long Batian suddenly called out his strength. Long Fei's heart stopped for a moment, as he was a little puzzled. Long Batian should have hoped for death. Only then would he be able to complete his plans. Soon after, Long Fei felt a change in the pubes and understood. Long Batian, you want me to use the pubes as power, right? Long Fei sneered. The pubes could only be used 3 times, and after 3 times, Long Fei would also be burnt to ashes. Other than the power of the pubes, do you have any other methods to kill the other party? You did not. Long Batian muttered to himself. He was calm and collected, as though he was certain that Long Fei did not have any trump cards. Haha, without power? Long Batian, when did you know that I can only slash 8 times? Long Fei chuckled, and then moved the killing weapon in his hand. Heaven's bestowal? So what if you're a gift from heaven? There's no need to fight over a boss with Lousy. God of Heaven Berserk, 9th slash lock on. Long Fei locked onto her with his eyes, and suddenly made his move. Swish! In the cold and silent void, the cold whistling sound of a blade slicing through the sky appeared. Instantly, this sound became the only melody. Soon after, a ray of saber light flashed across the air. It was tens of thousands of feet long and continued to condense until it finally became a normal size. At the same time, Long Fei's voice came out. Gu Xingdao, do you think that just because you have the power bestowed by the heavens, you will not die? Then I'll make you completely hopeless today. I'm not willing to see your position of heaven bestowed to me. Even if it is the power of heaven, I will not be able to protect you. Explode for me. At this moment, in the Sky Empire, Ji Changfeng was sitting on the dragon throne. At this moment, in the Sky Empire, Ji Changfeng was sitting on the dragon throne. Power of heaven and a blood-colored sky curtain? Had the street already broken through that boundary? Congratulations. Our Sky Empire will gain another throne. Our Sky Empire will be eternally stable. Ji Changfeng laughed heartily as he prepared for the banquet. He also prepared to send people to write a letter announcing the entrance of the ancient Tao into the capital. However, it was fated that he would never be able to see this day ever again. Other than that, there was an unknown place in the primal chaos. The Lord of primal chaos appeared once again, and looked in the direction of the Tianyun city. Kid, even the power of divine powers is unable to stop you? As expected, he didn't let this old man down. Ha, Long Batian, you have really brought me a heavenly great opportunity. The Lord of Primordial Chaos laughed heartily. And then the primordial chaos suddenly transformed, once more taking control of their bodies. The shadow disappeared. Of course, there was another person who was also attracted by this power far away from the unknown lands. Power of heaven, yet another person wanted to be honored? But so what if I am called the sovereign? This emperor's power is something that you all are unable to shake. Amidst the light and shadow transformation, a cold, slandering voice could be heard. This man was the Emperor Xian. However, even if it was him, he would never have expected that no one would be able to match his power and instead allow it to be destroyed by Long Fei. The scene turned back. Outside the Tianyun city on the battlefield, Long Fei stood proudly and waited quietly. And right in front of his eyes, Gu Xingdao's figure had been completely annihilated. He had been killed with a single slash of his blade, and even the power of the bestowal had disappeared without a trace. Ding! Right at this moment, the voice that Long Fei had been waiting for finally appeared. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Tianyun City Lord. You have obtained 160,000 experience points, 160,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sky Curtain Black Cloak. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sky Curtain Purple Robe. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Tianmu Hongyi. Ding! Congratulations player on obtaining Heaven's Curtain Technique. Do you wish to learn it? The system exploded continuously. Cultivate. The ancient Tao of Heaven's Curtain Technique was incomparably domineering. He had witnessed it with his own eyes and could even reverse it when it was in the sky. How could he not cultivate it? Ding, practice successful, current level, no level. Cultivation method, Sky Curtain Technique. Description, condensed sky curtain, covering the sky and blotting out the sun, forming an area with absolute control over space. By relying on one's strength, one can condense black clothes in the sky, purple clothes in the sky, red clothes in the sky, and robes in the sky. Ding! The system has detected the power of the sky. Automatic devour. Ding! Congratulations player, Heaven's Curtain Technique leveled up. Listening to the system's exploding sounds beside his ears, Long Fei finally managed to calm down a little. This time, he had already used level +1. If he did not get anything substantial, it would make Long Fei feel helpless. Fortunately, Long Fei was not disappointed this time. Although no overgod equipment dropped, Long Fei also did not feel that much. With the big killing tool here, it would be enough for him to use for a period of time. No, there's even striking value. Release. How could Long Fei possibly let go of such a super big boss that he had finally encountered? Ding! Player releases striking value. Ding! Congratulations player for obtaining the power of heaven. Ding! Congratulations to player on obtaining special Jiangli. Ding! Congratulations player on obtaining special Jiangli. The system's voice resounded once again. Power of the heavens. Holy sh*t, this time I'm really lucky. Even the power of divine aura was released. System, you are really a true savior. Long Fei laughed out loud. When he had released the Heavenly Curtain Technique earlier, Long Fei was already extremely happy. He never thought that the moment he released his striking value, Long Fei felt that he had actually underestimated the berserking power. Divine power. This was one of the key forces for a single person dominating the primal chaos realm. Aside from a few people who were bestowed the position of hierarch, who else could possess it? But now, Long Fei had instantly revealed it. How could he not be excited? Following that, Long Fei immediately looked around, and when he did, his face immediately turned bitter. Heavenly power. Formed from 30 strands of power within the ancient world, it possesses the ability to obtain a seat of honor and mobilize powers related to its cultivation. Description: all this power can be used in the thousands of planes below ancient world. Special notification: player Long Fei's level is too low, cannot be used. Originally, Long Fei would be more shocked every time he looked at the first few notifications. This kind of power was surprisingly molded in the ancient world, a special power that was blessed by the heavens. There were only 30 of them in the entire ancient world. This meant that in the entire world, no more than 30 people could reach this level of cultivation. If the next person wanted to obtain this power, they would have to kill the Lord who had already obtained it. Only then would they be able to obtain it. Just this point alone was enough to prove the strength of this power. If anyone found out that Long Fei possessed this power, they would definitely fight to the death for it in this entire unknown land and divine space. The heck, aren't you trying to keep lousy in suspense? Insufficient cultivation? This is so F***king disgusting. Long Fei cursed in his heart. This situation meant that there was a bed in front of you, and there was a peerless beauty on the bed. However, you are currently a dwarf, and you can only look. You simply cannot do it, as hard as it felt. Once again, Long Fei felt the importance of a breakthrough. Upgrade, upgrade. Next, no matter what, I have to level up as soon as possible. Long Fei clenched his teeth, determined that after this matter was resolved, he would definitely find a place to level up. Soon after, Long Fei looked at the other reward. Secret World. Even though it was a special reward, it couldn't be denied that the boss had dropped it, especially this name, which allowed Long Fei to instantly associate it with the Emperor of Absolute Destruction, the Prison of Annihilation. Interesting. When we find a great Vajra in Uro, we'll go in and take a look. Long Fei thought and retracted his thoughts. Li Wuxin also came over at this time and asked in disbelief, Long Fei, where's the ancient path? It can't really be dead, right? At this time, Li Wuxin was still immersed in the previous scene. That battle was earth-shattering, completely breaking his common sense. Of course, I've already told you not to worry. If there's anything, I'll fight, Long Fei said softly. After he finished speaking, he looked at Li Wuxin. How is it? Is what I said before still true? I heard someone say that if I can survive, then they will recognize me as their boss. Long Fei looked at Li Wuxin in anticipation. This was also a mission. Furthermore, this was the inheritance of the Emperor of the Extinction. He might even be able to trigger some clues about the Emperor of the Extinction. Hearing that, Li Wuxin also became silent, but just as she was about to speak, her face suddenly changed. Not good. Someone else is coming. Long Fei reacted in an instant, and in the entire world, an aura that was close to Berserk swept over. Long Fei reacted in an instant, and in the entire world, an aura that was close to Berserk swept over. This aura surged with boundless fury as it descended from the sky. It's the Tian clan, Long Fei said in a serious tone. He had already killed Tian Ba earlier, and had even exploded out with the power of the Rampage Warrior, the Rampage Warrior's heart, and the Rampage Warrior's blood. Therefore, the moment this void transformation occurred, Long Fei had already guessed who this person was. However, this person was extremely powerful and was definitely not someone that Tian Badeo could compare with. Let's go. Long Fei made a decision. In his current state, it was indeed not suitable for combat. The god of heaven Berserk had fallen into a cooldown, and his immortal body had already reached its limit. It would not be realistic to deal with an expert at this level. Li Wuxin was already prepared to run. He was really afraid that Long Fei would risk his life to fight. So, Long Fei and Li Wuxin instantly turned into a flowing light and flew away. After 3 breaths, the two had already disappeared without a trace. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Just as the two figures disappeared, the shadow of a fist pierced through the sky and caused the entire Tianyun city to be shaken up. Damn it, damn it. Kill my Tian family members and take away my Tian family's blood vein. Damn it, No matter who it is, I will definitely drag you out and lock you in the Tion family's raging purgatory so that you can endure the pain of being deprived of your strength. A 10 feet tall figure whose muscles were bursting descended from the sky. Looking at the scene of a battle that had turned into ruins, he said with a cold voice. He naturally did not know that the culprit who had caused all of this had already left long ago and came to the Tianyan city. Long Fei, it's not appropriate for us to do this, right? Would it not cause a commotion if we enter the Tianyan city like this? Li Wuxin pulled Long Fei and said somewhat speechlessly, "That's right." After leaving the battlefield, Long Fei's first decision was to come to the Tianyan city. This made Li Wuxin unable to understand. Even the Tianyan city lord had died in his hands. He came to Tianyan city so brazenly. Was he not here to cause trouble? The most dangerous place is the most dangerous place. Now, who would know that the ancient path is dead? No one. In other words, if we were to enter the city lord's mansion as the Tianyun city's masters, no one would doubt us. Long Fei's eyes moved. His face was filled with a scheming smile. Enter as the Tianyun city's master? You're crazy, Li Wuxin shouted. Let's not talk about the appearance, even if it's cultivation. How are you going to continue pretending? Tianyan City Lord is a powerhouse at the peak of the super perfection. What about you? Li Wuxin doubted, but her feelings towards Long Fei, who had previously been submissive, were drowned once again. Long Fei stared blankly at her, and couldn't help but feel somewhat helpless in his heart. What the hell? Is this quest really just an A-class one? Long Fei could not help but look down on the system. Of course, the most important thing was still his disdain towards Li Wuxin. Right now, Li Wuxin had already been labeled as such in Long Fei's heart. She had already done this, yet she still hadn't moved him. This was a life-saving favor. Although he was not ungrateful like the group of people in the cannon fodder camp, he still stood by Long Fei's side. However, for Long Fei, not recognizing a boss was the biggest mistake he had ever made. There's no need to doubt me. Believe me, yes. How about we make another bet? If I can safely sneak into the City Lord's mansion and even make them acknowledge me as their City Lord, how about you acknowledge me as your boss? Long Fei said. Li Wuxin looked at Long Fei with a serious face and said firmly in the end, "All right, if you really can make people listen to your words in the City Lord's mansion, then from now on, you are my Li Wuxin's big boss." He good? Now you just watch and see. Long Fei laughed mischievously as he immediately executed the heavenly curtain technique. In an instant, a black robe appeared on Long Fei's body. At the same time, several miles away from the two of them, they were also engulfed by the black aura and were completely isolated from the outside world. This is Tianyun City Lord's cultivation technique. How could you? Li Wuxin was extremely surprised. Long Fei glanced at Li Wuxin, chuckled, and said, "There are a lot of things you don't know. God is not omnipotent, but I am omnipotent. Let's go, we're entering the city." With that said, Long Fei entered the city. Li Wuxin, on the other hand, was completely dazed as he followed in Long Fei's footsteps and walked forward step by step. At this time, in a village 3,000 kilometers away from Tianyan City, Li Yuanba was immersed in a bloody battle. And the people in front of him were none other than the great elders of the Yin God's tribe. He dares to obstruct us with such little strength? Speak, where is Long Fei? As long as you account Long Fei's whereabouts, I can still spare your dog life. Or else, not only you, even the woman behind you will die. The elder from the Yinshu God's tribe said with a face full of arrogance, completely disregarding Li Yuanba. Old dog, aren't you relying on the combined power of all of you? Otherwise, do you think you can injure Lousy? You want to know news about my boss? I know, but I won't tell you. What can you do? Li Yuanba placed the axe by his side, forcefully supporting the pressure of the formation pattern formed by the presbyter of God's tribe. You still dare to be arrogant? You dog, let's see how long you can endure this. Descendant of God's tribe Yin, unleash the power of the sky's spill. Suppress him. The Yin presbyter of God's tribe said. as the sound of his voice faded. The dozens of Yin clan descendant of God's tribe walked forward with a look of disdain. They gathered their power and condensed their power from the heavens, condensing into strange lines that gathered in the array patterns formed by the elders in the air. Boom! Immediately, Li Yuanba's feet sank, and his legs almost bent down. Humph! Li Yuanba groaned. Blood veins started to appear in his eyes. Under this kind of pressure, even he was unable to withstand it. But who was Li Yuanba? He had followed Long Fei from the gods' martial continent, and was the head of the 8 King Kong. Haha, just this little bit of strength? Do you have the guts to come again? Your father is standing right here. If you have the guts, then get your father down. Otherwise, no one can even think of touching my sister-in-law. Blood trickled down from the corner of Li Yuanba's mouth, but he was still as arrogant as before. Behind him, Yuro was already unconscious and heavily injured. Haha, the problem is, can you protect it? She has the power of the same branch as us. As a presbyter of God's tribe, my words are enough to take away her power. If I want to kill her, I only need to move my mouth. So, I'm giving you one last chance. Tell me where Long Fei is, or else this old man will let you all die here. Then I'll strip you and tie you together. Presumably, if Long Fei knew about this in the future, his expression would definitely become extremely emotional. Amazing, right? I've been tricked by my most trusted brother. He's truly pushed to the climax. I'm so lucky. The men from the Yin God's tribe laughed madly. However, even as he laughed, Li Yuanba was thoroughly enraged. My God, your grandmother's legs, if I don't kill you, I won't be called Li Yuanba. Tianyin City, City Lord's Mansion. Tianyin City, City Lord's Mansion. Everyone kneeled in the center of the City Lord's Mansion. In front of them was Long Fei, who was wreaking havoc. Because of the black chi, Long Fei no longer had to conceal himself. He could just directly use the chi to become the barrier. There was only one reason, and that was in this world the only one who cultivated the heavenly canon was Gu Xingdao. Therefore, Long Fei only needed to use Black Heavenly Curtain to reveal his identity. Welcome back, City Lord. The City Lord's cultivation has increased by a huge amount. This is truly a cause for celebration. Presumably, Long Fei was killed by the City Lord during this trip. A thing that escaped with its life from the divine space actually dares to act arrogantly in front of us. It's not worth dying for. The City Lord's mansion was full of flattery. However, when Long Fei heard these words, he was extremely unhappy. What the hell? Do you really want me to die? When I don't need this level of identity, none of you will be able to escape. Long Fei thought coldly in his heart. Li Wuxian, who was at the side, looked at Long Fei and could not help but laugh. His face was flushed red. What are you laughing at? In less than 3 days, they will be kneeling down and singing Conquest. Long Fei coldly snorted. Then his gaze shifted to another direction, a group of familiar people. Of course, they were enemies. They were people of the divine space and the Qin family. Master of the ancient city, you just said that Long Fei has already been killed by you? Is this true? Divine space, Zhou family, Lin family members all had nervous expressions. The reason they entered this location was precisely for Long Fei. What if Long Fei was killed? Then who should they look for? Looking for the ancient path in front of him? Of course, just a mere ant. Once I make my move, how could he possibly still have a chance to live? Long Fei said, as his voice fell, the people of the Zhou and Lin families, and even those who desired divine space S, could no longer remain calm. If that's the case, then living in the ancient city has already obtained the power of Long Fei's pubes. The Zhou family members said, not bad. I really have to thank you. This Long Fei's power was indeed strange. It must be said that Long Fei is also an awesome existence, much stronger than you bunch of trash. This city lord exhausted all his methods to kill Long Fei. His pubes' power is only a remnant soul. It just happened to help me break through this layer of shackles and break through to my current realm. Long Fei said as he secretly channeled his innate talent. Even though he couldn't use this power, he could still use it to show off his power. Instantly, all the discontented emotions and voices disappeared without a trace. No one dared to make a sound, especially the members of the Zhou and Wang families. Their faces were pale. To them, this aura was a type of fatal suppression. A heavens chosen was the limit of one's cultivation. No one could break this iron law. In front of the honored tutor, all war generals and spiritual immortals were useless trash. They were all lowly ants that had been completely crushed. As for Long Fei, he was already overjoyed at the moment. With this identity, he had belittled them to the point where they were worse than pigs and dogs. This feeling could only be described by one word: awesome. He had even praised Meng Hao to his heart's content. Li Wuxin, who was at the side, was already stunned by Long Fei's shamelessness. She secretly gave a thumbs up, but did not say a word. Congratulations to the ancient city lord for breaking through to the honored warrior realm. In the future, the power of the Tianyun city will definitely rise another level. Yes, since the ancient city lives here today, we have the honor of becoming one of the few strongest people in the entire ancient world. It is truly a blessing for us to be able to meet face to face. Right, the ancient city lord is truly proud of the world. These people began to flatter him crazily. In front of Long Fei, they didn't even have the courage to raise their heads. As for those from the city lord's mansion, their doubts were dispelled. Originally, when they saw Long Fei being wrapped up by a ball of black aura, they felt a little suspicious. But now, once the aura of the bestowal of heaven appeared, they immediately understood. A heavenly jewel master. Their city lord was already revered. Their true appearance was not something they could see. Awesome. Let's see who dares to look down on our Tianyun city in the future. What dog currency? It's not even worth mentioning. From today onwards, besides the Sky Empire, our Tianyun city is number one. The disciples of the Tianyun city were instantly overpowered. This was what it meant for a person to ascend the Tao to the heavens. In the darkness, Long Fei was filled with a cold smile. Your mayor has already died. But don't worry, we'll meet again very soon. Long Fei thought as his eyes moved. At this moment, the anger deep inside his bones exploded, and all the hair on his body stood on end. This feeling made Long Fei feel like suffocating. King Kong, you row. Long Fei immediately woke up. In this location, the only people who could affect him were Li Yuanba and Yu Rou. One brother and one woman. There was only one thing that could make him feel like he was suffocating, and that was their current situation. Thinking to this point, Long Fei immediately turned around to look at the person from the divine space. Have you guys found that brother Long Fei and his woman yet? Since Long Fei is already dead, they're naturally this city lord's spoils of war. Long Fei said, it's too easy for the ancient city's lord to find out where they are. Right, it just so happens that there's an anomaly over there. Who knows, maybe the Nanshan God's tribe has already made his move. Coincidentally, I heard that the Heavenly Empire is planning to attack the God's tribe. It's a good idea to capture them all. The members of the Zhou and Gu families and the Lin clan fought each other to speak. Long Fei was already dead, so it would be a type of harvest for them if they could connect him with a powerhouse who was respected. Very well, let's set off now. As Long Fei spoke, he took the lead and caused a black curtain to sweep up. So. The purple armor guards of the Tianyun city, the guest elders of the city lord, and the powerhouse-s of the divine space did not dare to stop even for a moment as they followed behind Long Fei. 1,000 miles away, outside the villa. Haha, continue shouting. Didn't you say you would kill us all? Then move. Under the suppression of our Nanshan God's tribe, you still dare to shout and kill us? Who gave you the courage? The Yin God's tribe elder laughed madly. At this time, Li Yuanba's entire body had already bent down. But still, he kept her completely hidden beneath his body. Old thing, kill me if you have guts. It's impossible for you to find out news of my boss, Li Yuanba said, his mouth exposing a sinister smile. The muscles all over his body were already torn apart by this pressure, lacerated into a bloody mess. His entire state of mind was on the verge of collapse. Humph, you bastard, you are just an ant that doesn't care about face. Since you want to die for Long Fei so much, this elder will grant your wish. The Yin presbyter of God's tribe coldly said. Then, his hand released the power of the heavens, suppressing. C4122. C4122 1 second. Remember, pin. Interesting pavilion www. Beak. Come. Read for free. To put it bluntly, the power of the sky spill was a form of suppression. This power was different from the heavenly dipper power. The power of the heaven's birth was a complete derivation, creating from nothing. Otherwise, Yin Tian wouldn't have been able to call himself an emperor. However, the power of the heaven's divination was only a side effect of the power of the sky spill. But even so, he could not be underestimated. Under this kind of strength, Li Yuanba was completely enduring the pain. He could resist, but if he were to make a move, there was no doubt that he would be in danger. No, sister-in-law absolutely cannot be hurt. Even if I die, I can't let anything happen to my sister-in-law. Otherwise, how would I have the face-to-face with boss? I am King Kong. Li Yuanba clenched his teeth tightly, his legs had already bent, and he was deep in the ground. In some places, the bones and flesh had already been separated. The truly eerie white bones were exposed. Even the 5 fingers holding the axe had become bone claws. He's really tough, but what can he do? Trash is trash. Why don't you make a move? So what if your strength is berserk? Do you dare to take action? As long as you make a move, this lowly slave girl will die. The Yenshu presbyter of God's tribe coldly said. With a step, he instantly moved onto the pattern and stepped on it with his right foot. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The pressure on the entire rune increased by several times. Ka! Asterisk, the sound of bones shattering could be heard. Li Yuanba's legs bent once again, and he was less than a few centimeters away from the ground. With a single step, he would lose his support and kneel. He was in a precarious situation. Li Yuanba's eyes were scarlet red, his pupils exploding as though they were about to pop out from their sockets. The hatred in his heart overflowed to the heavens. At this moment, if it wasn't to protect Yuro, even if he were to die, Li Yuanba would definitely not be so useless. You dare to glare at me, you dog. My clan's young master kindly allowed that ungrateful Long Fei to enter the secret world, yet he actually tried to assassinate my clan's young master and destroy my clan's secret world. This kind of dog, even if I were died 10,000 times, this old man will still hate it. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for following a useless master. The Yin presbyter of God's tribe said, his expression fierce. But at this moment, a black shadow cut across the sky. The sky suddenly turned dark. It was like a piece of black cloth covering the sun, covering the sky. The light dissipated. Darkness descended. The expression on the faces of the men from the Yin God's tribe changed. It was like they were facing a great enemy. Who? The expressions of the men from the Yin God's tribe changed greatly. Under the dark curtain, it was as if their powers had met their natural enemy. They couldn't completely suppress it and couldn't use it at all. Following the appearance of this black curtain, the pressure on Li Yuanba's body abruptly loosened. The scarlet red in his eyes retreated and exploded into a brilliant light. He could feel that behind this curtain of darkness, there was Long Fei's aura. Just as he was about to speak, he heard a voice. Don't make a sound. I'm using my identity as the Tianyun City's master right now. We'll talk after we save you guys. It was Long Fei's sound transmission. Long Fei had already considered this. At the same time he saved Li Yuanba, he also sent a sound transmission, afraid that his identity would be exposed. At the same time, several figures descended from the sky. Each of his auras was more tyrannical than the other. Furthermore, his strength was completely different and incomparably valiant. All of you, the Yin God's tribe elder's face became flustered. He had already guessed the origins of these people. Shwa shwa shwa. At this moment, Another uniform voice sounded out, followed closely by a purple armored guard. If he had been a little hesitant before, then now that this scene had occurred, all his guesses had become absolute facts. Tianyin City. The voice of the Yin presbyter of God's tribe trembled with fear. If the Tianyin City wanted to deal with the Yin God's tribe, they would have sensed it long ago. When Long Fei and the rest entered the secret world, the great emperor sculpting sculpture had already given them a warning. The note of the God's tribe had already been deduced. If they hadn't stopped them in time, they might have already been found. Afterwards, the Sky Spill secret world collapsed. Their Yin God's tribe had basically been exposed. And only then did they come out to find Long Fei, as they were already prepared to fight. But now, seeing this power that had suddenly descended, his heart was in a state of panic. Without mentioning Long Fei, who was wrapped in black aura, he could not even see through his cultivation. Just the aura alone was enough to make him feel like he was facing the world of ancient world. That kind of pressure. No, that's impossible. The ancient Tao definitely does not have this level of cultivation. Who exactly are you? The Yin God's tribe elder said crazily, his eyes gleaming. In the center of this endless darkness, the aura was so tyrannical that it was a complete mess, causing him to feel like he was about to collapse. Shut up, God's tribe's trash. The ancient city's lord has already been respected. Is it something that a trash like you can compare to? Yeah, a mere Yin God's tribe dares to talk back to the ancient city. Right now, we don't even need the Sky Empire to do anything. We can eliminate all of you. I'm courting death. You didn't hide properly and became a mouse, but you still dare to come out and jump around? The people from the divine space and the Qin family all fought to open their mouths. In the darkness, Long Fei's eyes flashed with ridicule. Dog, 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 dog. Fight, kill one, lose one. Anyway, with this little bit of experience, I don't think much of it. Long Fei looked on coldly. At this time, the people from the Yinshu God's tribe were already trembling. He instinctively retreated, especially the Nangong elder. When he heard the people from the divine space call him Jizun, his knees went weak and he almost fell down. Honored? Guxing Dao is an honorary powerhouse. You're courting death, my Yin God's tribe. How can we fight like this? Isn't our Yinshu God's tribe destined to die? Ancient City Lord, I knelt down for you. From today onwards, our Su'a God's tribe will hide away and never appear again. Please be merciful and let us go. The Yin presbyter of God's tribe immediately begged for mercy. Heaven's bestowment on the throne was a symbol of invincibility. Who could resist? Who would dare to disobey? As for whether it was true or not, he dared not doubt it even more. With so many powerhouse before him bowing in submission, how could it be false? Kill. But these words were useless to Long Fei. The existence of the Yin God's tribe had already touched his reverse scale. His brother, his woman, was not to be touched. Whoever touched him would die. As Long Fei's voice fell, the purple armored guards of the Tianyin City, the divine space, and the Qin family's powerhouse all made their moves. The Gu family's general and the Lin family's spiritual immortal each used their sacred arts, causing the entire world of darkness to once again shine with brilliance. Puff, puffed, boom. All sorts of power exploded outwards. Those who had comprehended the God's tribe were like vegetables. One move was enough to kill them. They had no way to defend themselves. Boom, boom, boom. One after another, descendant of God's tribe, Yin fell into the pool of blood. They didn't even have time to wail before they died without a complete corpse. In the blink of an eye, only the Yin presbyter of God's tribe remained. No, ancient city lord, don't kill me. I admit defeat. I'm willing to hand over the secret of God's tribe Yin. As long as you can spare my life, I'm willing to speak of the node of God's tribe Yin. The Yin presbyter of God's tribe madly kowtowed, his forehead dripping with blood. He did not dare stop. No need. All I want is your life. From within the darkness, Long Fei's cold and heartless voice echoed. This was the response he got. After torturing the Vajra into such a state, even Uro had already lost consciousness. After torturing the Vajra into such a state, even Uro had already lost consciousness. You still want to live under these circumstances? It did not exist. Long Fei would definitely not tolerate such a thing happening. You have no right to beg for forgiveness in front of me right now. Strength is everything. A mere Yin God's tribe dares to act so arrogantly in front of this city leader. Even without this city leader's help, they are already doomed to die. And you are definitely not the first. With just a few words, he had already decided the fate of the Yin presbyter of God's tribe. There wasn't even a need for Long Fei to act. The people from the divine space were already acting on his behalf. The Gu family general moved his hand, and the weapon appeared in his hand. With a thrust of his spear, the cultivation of the 8th level of the super-perfection exploded. His spear pierced straight through the chest of the presbyter of God's tribe. Then his neck tilted to the side, as though he was dead. Long Fei remained calm and collected. He would never act if he could. If he was able to get others to make a move, and he was able to reap the rewards from the situation, then he would absolutely not expose himself. It's just a pity that it's just a little bit of experience. Long Fei thought regretfully in his heart. But right at this moment, ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing presbyter of God's tribe Yin. You have obtained 70,000 experience, 70,000 holy source points, and 1 striking value point. Ding! Congratulations player on obtaining heavenly sword. Ding! The heavenly energy has been devoured. Long Fei was startled. He didn't expect to gain so much experience after being killed by someone else. It was simply lying in bed. Without doing anything, he had gained experience just like that. Was there anything better than this? If there was, it was definitely a repeat. Master, although this power is not pure and is far inferior to the power of Sky Spill, it's still good enough to be a toothpick. The Sky Evolution Beast's voice came out from the system, and after chewing a bit, it spoke to Long Fei. City Lord, we have already killed all of the Yin God's tribe's traitors. Are we still going to attack their base camp? Lin Clan's Ling Xian said. In order to prevent the ancient path from putting on their small shoes, he had no choice but to stand out, afraid that the Gu family would be too eye-catching and miss out on this opportunity to show off their skills. All right, attack at full speed. As long as you take care of the Yinwu God's tribe, it will be a great achievement. From now on, this mayor will be the backer of your family. Even if it's the group of bastards from Xian nationality S, there's no need to be afraid. Long Fei said arrogantly. Not a single one of them could be missing out on the entire set. Long Fei came up from the divine space, so he naturally knew that these Jubi families were no match for the Xian nationality. All these years, they had always been suppressed by him. That was why he said that now. Furthermore, he was a powerhouse right now. If he didn't even have this kind of confidence, that would make people even more suspicious. Instantly, the faces of the people from the divine space lit up. With Long Fei's words, it was as if their hearts were on stimulants, and they had become a completely different person. Mayor, don't worry, it's just the Yinshu God's tribe, a group of scum that should have long disappeared from history. Right? We don't need the mayor to intervene in this battle. Just leave it to us. I hope that the city lord will keep his word. This way, we can have a chance to shine. Xian nationality, Emperor Xian, we can all do the same. The experts of the divine space all spoke out. Their faces were filled with passion as though they had seen a woman. Go. Long Fei said indifferently. Then, he arrived in front of Li Yuanba. As for you two, ha ha ha, Long Fei has already died in this city's master's hands. You are his spoils of war. Today, this city will devour them and destroy their souls. As Long Fei said this, the dark energy instantly wrapped around Li Yuanba and Yu Ro's figures. The mayor is indeed powerful, worthy to be called a respected expert. Once he used his godly technique, who could compete with him? That's right, with this method, even the Emperor Xian would not be able to compare to it. Immediately, The members of the Zhou and Lin families spoke up one after another, not giving up on any opportunity to flatter. What kind of dog is Emperor Xian? Just an old bastard. Long Fei disdained. Cut the crap. Now, follow the city leader and destroy the Yintian family. Long Fei said. His figure moved, and the darkness disappeared again. Inside the endless darkness, Li Yuanba looked at Long Fei with excitement. Boss! Li Yuanba endured the pain on his body and said, You've worked hard. Long Fei was extremely deep, and the fire in his eyes seemed to have solidified, shocking everyone who saw it. It's fine, boss. At least I can guarantee sister-in-law's safety. I'll be fine no matter what, Li Yuanba said with a silly smile. He wanted to reach out to stroke his bald head, but when he raised his hand, his fingers that were like bones were once again put down in embarrassment. All of you are the same. In my heart, you are all indispensable. No matter who it is, I will make them pay with their lives if I hurt them. As Long Fei said this, his gaze turned towards Yu. At this moment, the aura coming from Yu's body was extremely chaotic. In particular, her life's power, the power of the sky shifting art, was flickering within her body. If not for the fact that Long Fei had long ago used the power of Sky Spill to draw out the pattern of his power and fuse it into her body, it was likely that it would have been even more severe now. She was severely injured, as if her life force was taken away. Suddenly, Li Wuxin interrupted their conversation, raised her head, and said to Long Fei, Don't worry, this is perfect too. It's fine if you don't want the power of trash. Long Fei's eyes flashed and said, Li Wuxin and Li Yuanba were both surprised. They did not understand what Long Fei meant. Because I've already obtained a power more suitable for Yu. Before this power, the power in her body before was simply trash. No, calling them trash is overestimating them. They're simply a pile of dog shit. Long Fei said as he took out the power of Great Emperor Yan's inheritance from the system. Immediately, Li Wuxin was dumbstruck, her face full of disbelief as she looked at Long Fei. How can this power be so powerful? Even the aura of a paragon wouldn't be that powerful, right? Li Wuxin was shocked as she looked at Long Fei with a complicated expression. On the other hand, Li Yuanba didn't care at all. Even if Long Fei took out the head of the Emperor Xian, he would not be surprised. Because in his eyes, Long Fei was a legend. Nothing mattered. Nothing was impossible. As long as Long Fei wanted to do something, nothing bad would happen. And at this time, Long Fei did not reply again. With a face of caution, he held Yu in his embrace, then used his heaven's divination power to wrap around the ball of energy and slowly fused it into Yu's body. Rumble, rumble, rumble. At this time, in the Sky Spill Emperor's system, the mark of Emperor Yan's body suddenly erupted with a massive golden light. Long Fei moved his hand and took out the Sky Evolution imprint. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Golden light flickered, and all of them entered Yu's body. At the same time, that ball of energy entered into Yu's body. It was like a supportive medicine, allowing Yu to completely refine the power. At the same time, a clear sound came from the system. Ding! Ding! Emperor Yin Tian's power inheritance has successed. Ding! Emperor Yin Tian's power inheritance has successed. Emperor Yin Tian has been activated. Inheritance activated. Long Fei looked at Yu. Even if he continued to use black heavenly curtain to hide himself, it was completely unable to cover up the profound light being released from Yu's body. This light, this aura, could it be that one can be called an emperor just by awakening? My woman is a female emperor. Long Fei couldn't help but think of something. Of course, this female empress was raised by him. The female empress in the novels of his previous life didn't have any relationship at all. It was also at this time that the powerhouse S following behind Long Fei. Looking at the light that bloomed around Long Fei and the mysterious feeling that was difficult to comprehend, all of them looked at each other. What a strong aura. In the end, he is still a respected powerhouse, even when cultivating his strength is still so terrifying. Yes, this time, even without Long Fei, this trip to the unknown place would not be too disappointing. Honored people, the ancient world is just a few of them. Even if the Emperor Xian is an established position, the difference should not be big. These people still harbored yearning in their hearts, treating this energy as Long Fei's cultivation. On the other hand, Long Fei deliberately slowed his pace. Currently, Yu was still in the stage of awakening, so all Long Fei had to do was to protect her. The mysterious glow continued to emanate out from Yu's body, and the intense power of the heaven-devouring divine art rotated madly. At the same time, the aura of Yu's body also began to grow stronger. Boom! A flash of light. Yu directly broke through. From the second level of the ancient powers, he had broken through to the second level of the Paragon level in the blink of an eye. This was only the beginning. Boom! He had broken through once again. Supreme Paragon, 5th level. The 6th level of the Paragon. The 7th level, the 9th level. There weren't any gaps between them. With a jump, the level changed in the blink of an eye. He has already reached the level of perfection. Will you take another step? Long Fei's eyes were filled with anticipation. Even now, he could still feel a surge of explosive power emanating from Yu's body. However, 3 minutes had passed. Yu still hadn't broken through. However, the aura exuding from his body was already extremely powerful, which was already an absolute height among the great perfection. Even the Gu Xing Dao that they had fought before could not achieve a breakthrough. Yes, with a moan, Yu slowly opened her eyes. Long Fei. Yu cried out as her eyes filled with tears. It's okay. With me here, no one will be able to hurt you. Long Fei said. Yu was too kind and too delicate in Long Fei's eyes, so he shouldn't have to bear all of this. Therefore, in that moment, Long Fei's heart was filled with killing intent. Boss, I'm afraid anyone who wants to touch eldest sister-in-law would have to consider whether or not they have a right to do so. Li Yuanba said. Hee, that's true. Now, whoever wants to touch you will have to see if they have 2 lives. Long Fei grinned and then spoke his mind. I am already at the peak of the super perfection. Yu looked at Long Fei in disbelief and then felt the energy contained in her body, making her even more shocked. What you mean is I've already completely inherited the inheritance of Emperor Yin Tian. Yu asked tentatively. Right, that's not right either. You have inherited the power of Emperor Yin Tian, but in a way, it has nothing to do with him. So, you can also think like this, that you're a living female Emperor Yin Tian. Long Fei said with pride. Yu was one of his women, and his woman had become a great emperor. Who could do such a thing? I'm just asking you, are you that awesome? I will protect you from now on. No one can hurt you, Yu said with a red face. Good. I also want to experience the grace of a female emperor. Long Fei winked at him, thinking 1 word, 2 words. Yu had originally been nodding her head, but when she thought about the meaning behind Long Fei's words, her face suddenly flushed red. Boss, I really don't want to disturb you too, but can you give me a pill to help me recover first? Li Yuanba said with a simple and honest smile. Long Fei's face reddened. Yu's face turned even redder. Only Li Wuxin felt as if his view of the world had collapsed. It was as if the events of the past 2 days were even more legendary than anything he had experienced in his entire life. What? You say that my clan's elders have already been killed by the divine space and the people of the Tianyan city? Within the Yin Tian world, the face of the Yin God's tribe's leader, Bai Qi, became extremely gloomy. From the collapse of the Sky Spill secret world to the death of the Sky Spill presbyter of God's tribe, this was a fatal blow to the Sky Spill God's tribe. The most crucial point was that his son, who had already obtained a placing in the God of Boundary, had died miserable deaths in secret world Yin Tian. Long Fei, it's all because of you, you little bastard. No matter what, you must die. Bai Qi had a gloomy expression, incomparably hateful. It was at this moment, however, that a rumbling sound could be heard. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. In the entire realm, countless rivers and mountains began to crack and shatter. Chief, it's bad. The people outside have already arrived. The Yin God's tribe disciple panicked and reported. His face was filled with fear. He actually dares to attack our door? Gu Xingdao, I would like to see what cultivation realm you are in now. A savage smile appeared on Bai Qi's face as a sense of hatred started growing. Patriarch, not only the ancient elemental Dao of the Tianyin city, a group of divine space cultivators had attacked them as well, and they were all extremely respectful to the ancient Dao. I seem to hear them calling him Lord. Ka! Asterisk, the malevolence on Bai Qi's face had yet to disappear when it abruptly turned into fear. Overlord, are you sure you didn't hear wrongly? Bai Qi asked in panic. Who could be revered? People of the divine space always had their eyes set on the top. If it was only because of the Sky Empire, then how could they respect them? The only possibility was the cultivation of the ancient Tao. Rumble, rumble, rumble. At this time, a curtain of black light cut through the nodes of the ocean world, engulfing the entire horizon. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The entire space instantly turned dark. There's no need for him. This city lord will answer to you. You're right. I am already worthy of your respect. We understand. Long Fei's voice came out from the darkness like thunder, shaking the entire world. At the same time, he released the aura of that heavenly power. All life trembled and all power dimmed. In front of the power of a heaven's gift, everything had to be bowed down. Even Bai Qi's power of the sky spill art was unable to block it at this moment. Staring at the dark curtain with trembling hands, Zhang Xian's fingers trembled uncontrollably. Honor? No. Impossible. My clan's supreme elder has surpassed the heavens and earth. You do not have the chance to become a sovereign. No, it's fake. It's fake. It must be fake. Madness. Madness. Bai Qi howled in madness as he staggered backward. He was extremely clear about the terror of a heaven's gift, and knew that it was comparable to a great emperor. Just like Emperor Yin Tian, he had to exert the power of Yin Tian to the extreme in order to become a true emperor. But now, if Gu Xingdao was truly respected, it would be a fatal blow to their Yanshu God's tribe. You still dare to clamor? Bai Qi, your Yin God tribe is finished. The Qin clan elder said. Even though the Yin God's tribe had existed for a long time, they still had some understanding of the matters of the Yin God's tribe, and now they could call out Bai Qi's name. No, this was impossible. Our clan had once retired and acted before. In this life, there will definitely be people who will be honored, but it is definitely not the path of ancient history. As Bai Qi spoke, a sinister light flickered in his eyes as he stared at the dark screen in the air. Speak, who exactly are you? Why are you pretending to be an ancient era's path to deceive people? Bai Qi said. In the dark, Long Fei was startled, and more or less surprised. He hadn't thought that the first person to see through him would be Bai Qi. But how could Long Fei admit it? It was impossible for them to see through his disguise with their strength anyway. I didn't expect that the Yin God's tribe would have such a deep background. He has already deduced some clues many years ago. Long Fei said, Haha, boss, so what if you're strong? I would still play by you as a cripple in the end. Right now, my elder sister-in-law is the living Emperor Yin Tian. What Yinwu God's tribe? It's nothing. Li Yuanba said. Long Fei also looked at Yuro. At the end of the day, Yuro had some connections with the Yin Tian race. Even if he wasn't from the Yin Tian God's tribe, her grandfather definitely had some unclear connections with him. You have already inherited the power of the Sky Spill. What do you think of the people from the Sky Spill God's tribe? Long Fei asked tenderly. Hearing Long Fei's question, Yuro's heart softened, and her gaze towards Long Fei became even more affectionate. Actually, I should also be from the Yin God's tribe. It's just that when I was very young, my grandfather had already been deprived of his power by them, and I only inherited some of it. It is also because of this little bit of power that my grandfather and I have been wandering among the great clans of Thousand Sun City for so many years, becoming tools for their open secret realm. It's a good thing that I haven't made any mistakes in the past few years. It wasn't until that time in Thousand Sun City that the Zhao family gave birth to an evil thought and wanted to strip grandfather and me of our power. Only then did they, Yuro slowly said. At the end, he stopped whimpering and just remained silent. It was only at this moment that Long Fei realized how complicated Yuro's background was. If it wasn't for the fact that he had some sort of spell formation technique, he would have been devoured long ago in this unknown land. He couldn't tolerate it. The cliff wouldn't be able to bear it. Fuck, then what are we waiting for? These people have made our eldest sister-in-law suffer so badly. They might as well kill them all. Li Yuanbar roared, his face full of killing intent. All right, but we don't have to do anything now. It's obvious that this group of idiots will do it themselves. We are reaping the rewards, Long Fei said, and then he moved the power of heaven's gift. Swish! Instantly, an incomparably revered qi spread out in all directions. The faces of the people from divine space immediately changed. Oh no, the ancestor is angry. Pa, this bunch of things are truly courting death. What Yinshu God's tribe and Yin Tian, right now you can't continue to reproduce yourself. The divine space's people all fiercely faced each other. They were only waiting for Long Fei's order and were about to attack. But if Long Fei did not make a move, they would not dare to exceed their authority. Thus, at this time, within the darkness, Long Fei was in a dilemma. F***, these idiots, they're actually waiting for me to attack. Won't we be exposed if we make a move? Long Fei was a little helpless. Long Fei, I can help you. Suddenly, Yuro took a step forward and said, Long Fei was stunned at first, but soon after, his face brightened. That's right. Even though he was only pretending to have this position, it was still an easy feat for Yuro to obtain the complete strength of Emperor Yin Tian and use it to intimidate the descendants of the Yin God's tribe. Good. Then, if you make a move and directly imprison all of them and then strip them of their power to develop the heavens, all of them will turn into mortals. Long Fei said. Yes. Yuro obediently nodded her head. But in the next moment, as she turned around, the aura on her body abruptly changed. Her hands moved, and an incomparably profound tattoo appeared, directly descending through the boundless darkness. At this time, Long Fei also cooperated and said, Bai Qi, you'll never understand what it means to be a supreme realm cultivator. Point out the heavens and the earth. Painting prison. Long Fei's voice sounded out, followed by the sound of her voice. Swish! Under the control of Yuro's will, the tattoo turned into a black finger that came crashing down. Boom! Suddenly, the entire Yoshin world seemed to be triggered and began to shrink. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. After a continuous contraction, it was constantly annihilated. It was originally an endless world, but in just a breath's time, there was only a tiny bit of it left. Less than 100 miles. It was just as Long Ruo said, to guide the heavens and the earth, drawing a picture of the earth as a prison. And the entire Yin God's tribe was a prison survivor. A single finger. Amazing. The strength of a venerable one is truly unimaginable. Of course, let's see what else these idiots from the God's tribe have to say now. They only dare to leave the existence of the venerable one. They are overestimating themselves. Look quickly, this power is not that simple. These people from me are losing their strength. The people from the Tianyun city and the people from the divine space said with faces full of shock. All of them became even more astonished after the last sentence was spoken. Amidst the astonishment, there was also endless fear. It was because they were afraid. Who would not be afraid of this method of instantly stripping people of their strength? In this world, power was everything. If he were to be deprived of his strength, he could only wait for death. Therefore, this kind of power was completely based on the power of clan extermination. As for Bai Qi, he was completely devoid of blood. He continued to struggle. His heart burned with anxiety as he watched the power within his clansmen disappear. Impossible. This is impossible. This is my clan's power. How can you possibly control it? Depriving Blood Vein of its power. This is impossible. No one can do it. Bai Qi was on the verge of collapse. Looking at the fading power in his body, he finally accepted his fate. Even if he did not approve of this power, he knew clearly that if he were to continue, there was only one possibility, and that was for the entire Yin clan to be exterminated. Patriarch, let's beg for mercy. Yes, I feel like my power is about to be taken away. Let's beg for mercy. No, please stop. My clan has many skies-seizing masters. They can help you do a lot. Stop. I beg you, do not destroy my Yin Tian tribe. They began to beg for forgiveness. Before this sort of absolute power, they could only beg for forgiveness. There was no second choice. In the darkness, Long Fei looked at Yuro. Their life and death would be decided with a single thought from Yuro. Let's go around them. The culprit right now is only Bai Qi. We only have to kill him. Yuro saw the look in Long Fei's eyes and said, "You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories."